Chapter 12:30. 36 Big Dipper peaks were occupied by 36 sky prides. They stood high and proud as they looked down on the other geniuses. For a moment, no one went up to challenge them. Of course, it didn't mean that the 36 sky prides were the strongest among the 1,000 sky prides present. There might be some who didn't want to challenge them. For example, Long Chen. Currently, Long Chen's cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level spirit god. With the terrifying power of his immemorial dragon-esque elephant bloodline, he could definitely occupy one of the peaks. There was also Lu Ming. Now that his 9 dragons bloodline had reached the 9th level of the divine realm, his combat strength was even stronger. It wouldn't be a problem for him to occupy one of the peaks. Among the remaining geniuses, how could there not be any sky prides with terrifying strength? It was just that they didn't make a move due to various reasons. After all, the Celestial God sect hadn't started the selection process yet. There was no need for some to expose their strength. Looks like the Southern Divine Palace isn't going to make it. You only occupy 7 peaks. A loud laugh came from an emperor of the West Divine Palace. The black-robed middle-aged man's face turned ugly. There were a total of 36 peaks, and the Southern Divine Palace only occupied 7. It was obvious that they were weaker. The Western Divine Palace and the Southern Divine Palace's strength had always been on par. The competition between them was naturally fierce. Moreover, the Celestial God sect was selecting disciples this time. Whoever succeeded in joining the Celestial God sect would naturally receive more rewards from the Celestial God sect. The sky prides of the Southern Divine Palace aren't that high profile. The black-robed middle-aged man snorted coldly. So you're saying that the Southern Divine Palace is hiding many sky prides who can step onto the Big Dipper Peak? The sovereign from the Western Divine Palace sneered. The black-robed middle-aged man's face was cold. He didn't say anything as he wasn't confident. He was just putting on a brave front. Buzz. At this moment, one of the altars in the skies suddenly vibrated slightly. Countless inscriptions flashed and radiance spread out. Many people were shocked as they looked at the altar with hopeful eyes. Legend had it that the 9 ancient altars were the spatial passageways that led to the major forces of the Yuan continent. A long time ago, the Divine Ruins mainland was connected to the 9 major forces of the Yuan continent. Therefore, the 9 altars were left. But now, the Godly Ruins mainland had long lost contact with the 9 major forces. The 9 ancient altars had not been activated for a long time. Some time ago, one of the forces, the Heavenly God sect, suddenly got in touch with the Divine Ruins continent and issued an order to select disciples. Were the experts of the Celestial God sect, one of the major forces of the Yuan continent, about to arrive? That was one of the major forces in Yuan continent. Most of the people were staring at the altar with burning gazes. Yunlu was the core of the primordial realm. It was a place that all cultivators yearned for. It was a holy land for cultivation. Over there were powerhouses who truly stood at the peak. Legend had it that there were peerless almighty beings who had survived since the ancient times. There were countless geniuses there. That place was prosperous to the extreme. Unfortunately, no one had been there. Even many rulers had not been there. Now, he was finally going to meet the experts of the major forces in Yuanlu. The light grew brighter and brighter. In the end, a door of light appeared on the ancient altar. Then, everyone saw figures emerging from the door of light. There were a total of 6 figures. The leader was an elder with a head full of silver hair. Behind the elder were 2 middle-aged burly men. The 3 of them stood there casually, but their bodies exuded an unparalleled pressure. That pressure was like a sacred mountain that weighed hundreds of millions of pounds. It pressed down on everyone's hearts, making it difficult for them to breathe. So powerful! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The pressure that the 3 of them gave off was far greater than that of the black-robed middle-aged man. In other words, the 3 of them had surpassed level 3 martial royal realm. Behind the 3 of them were 3 young men. There were 2 men and 1 woman. The men were handsome and the woman was beautiful. The 3 young men and women scanned the crowd. Their eyes were filled with curiosity, arrogance, and disdain. It was as if they were high and mighty emperors facing a bunch of beggars. Greetings, emissary of the heavenly god sect. The rulers of the 4 sacred palaces quickly bowed respectfully. Greetings, emissary of the heavenly god sect. The others, including the emissary of the ancient city of the divine ruins, also bowed respectfully. Are all the geniuses of the continent of the divine ruins here? The silver-haired elder asked. His voice was melodious and resounded in everyone's ears. No matter how far away they were, they could hear him clearly. Emissary, all the strongest geniuses of the continent of the divine ruins are here. A ruler of the northern sacred palace said respectfully. Very well. From now on, the heavenly god sect will choose a group of geniuses to join the heavenly god sect. There is no limit to the number. It mainly depends on your performance. If you perform well, you will be able to join the heavenly god sect. Therefore, you will have to go through a series of tests. There will be 2 rounds in this test. Now, we need to set up the venue for the first round of tests. It will take 7 days, so the first round of tests will take place in 7 days. Come back 7 days later. The silver-haired elder announced. Yes, we will take our leave. The rulers of the 4 sacred palaces bowed and left with the geniuses. The 4 sacred palaces all had branches in the ancient city of the divine ruins. Soon, Lu Ming and the others arrived at a huge mansion. There were many palaces and buildings in the mansion. Lu Ming and the others each had a spacious room. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing entered the room together and entered the mountain river diagram. Xian Yanqing sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and quietly comprehended. In the divine ruins, Xian Yanqing had obtained the inheritance of a peerless expert who cultivated the demonic Tao. He needed time to comprehend it carefully. The Enlightenment ancient tree could help Xian Yanqing improve quickly. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on another mountain peak. With a wave of his hand, a pile of origin stones appeared in front of him. There were millions of them. Now, Lu Ming's various wills of heaven and earth had been greatly improved, far surpassing his current cultivation. It was time to use the origin stones to improve his cultivation. In this selection, there were many geniuses in the divine ruins. With Lu Ming's current cultivation of the 5th level spirit god, it was obviously not enough. The 9 dragons' bloodline appeared and swallowed millions of origin stones in one gulp and began to refine them. The 9 dragons' bloodline had advanced to the 9th level of the divine realm, and the power of devouring and refining had increased to a terrifying level. The refining of origin stones had also reached an astonishing level. Millions of origin stones were constantly being refined and turned into true origin chi, which surged in Lu Ming's body like a tide. Rumble. True origin chi flowed and rumbled. Lu Ming's spirit god became more and more condensed and dazzling. Lu Ming's cultivation also became stronger. Soon, millions of origin stones were all refined. Lu Ming took out millions more and continued to devour and refine them. At his current level, Lu Ming needed even more origin stones. Just like this, Lu Ming had refined a shocking 20 million origin stones. At this moment, a fierce whistling sound came from Lu Ming's body. His aura suddenly soared. 6th level spirit god. Chapter 12:31. However, Lu Ming did not stop at this point. Instead, he continued to devour and refine origin stones. His current intent realm cultivation was enough to support his cultivation to skyrocket. Piles of origin stones were constantly refined and turned into Lu Ming's true yuan. Early 6th level spirit god, mid 6th level spirit god, late 6th level spirit god, Lu Ming's cultivation was rising at a shocking speed. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. When the 7th day arrived, Lu Ming's aura had reached an unprecedented height. 7th level spirit god. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the 7th level spirit god in one go. So strong. Lu Ming circulated the true dragon art and felt the true yuan in his body that was 10 times stronger than before. He smiled. Compared to 7 days ago, his current combat strength was many times more powerful than before. The stronger his cultivation and true yuan were, the stronger the hell-suppressing heaven skills power would be, and his battle strength would skyrocket. Lu Ming stood up and took a step forward, arriving in front of Xian Yanqing. At this moment, Xian Yanqing also stood up and smiled. In 7 days, Xian Yanqing's cultivation had actually risen by 2 levels, from the early 6th level spirit god to the late 6th level spirit god. The speed was also shockingly fast. Xian Yanqing had just obtained the inheritance of a supreme existence. This period of time was the time for her cultivation to explode. As she comprehended more of the inheritance, her cultivation would continue to rise. Time's up. Let's go out. Lu Ming smiled with confidence in his eyes. The two of them exited the mountain river diagram. As expected, the crowd had already begun to gather. In a courtyard, the prodigies of the southern god palace were gathered. The black-robed middle-aged man was sitting at the front. The black-robed middle-aged man had a solemn expression. This time, the prodigies of the other 3 forces are all shockingly strong. You must work hard. Once you're selected by the Celestial God sect and become their disciples, not only will you be able to join the Celestial God sect to cultivate, but the Southern God Palace will also reward you greatly. Therefore, you must do your best. Everyone nodded. Alright, come with me. The black-clothed middle-aged man nodded and led the group into the sky. Soon, they arrived near the 36 Tiangang Mountains. In the sky, air-piercing sounds could be heard continuously. The geniuses of the other 3 factions had arrived as well. With a flash of light, the heavenly god sect's silver-haired elder and the others appeared in the air above the 36 mountains. The silver-haired old man swept them with his gaze and said, "This time, the first round will be carried out in a small dimension. There are no rules there, and you can utilize any method. Your mission is to stay in that dimension for 15 days, and you'll be able to enter the next round if you stay there for 15 days. As long as I stay for 15 days, I can enter the next round." Many people were surprised. This sounded very simple. If he stayed for 15 days, wouldn't he be able to enter the next round if he found a place to hide? It shouldn't be that simple, many people thought. Also, there are some opportunities in this small plane. I can tell you that these opportunities are very rare in the continent of God and can greatly increase your strength. The silver-haired old man's voice was full of temptation. Many people's eyes lit up. These opportunities were given by the heavenly god sect. How valuable would they be? Of course, if you want to obtain these opportunities, you'll need the key, and the key is with each of you. The silver-haired old man continued. You need the key? The key is with each of us? Many people were flabbergasted and puzzled. However, the silver-haired old man didn't want to explain further. An earth-shattering aura burst out from his body. The aura was so strong that even the black-clothed middle-aged man, who was a rank 3 martial royal realm expert, was shocked. The silver-haired old man waved his hand and a huge light door appeared in the air. You can enter from here. The silver-haired old man said. Let's go. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, some people rushed into the door of light and disappeared. The silver-haired old man had said that there were great opportunities inside. If they entered first, they would have a higher chance of obtaining great opportunities. Go, go, go. Young people rushed into the light door one by one. Xiao Qing, be careful when you enter. Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing's hand. I will do. Xian Yanqing nodded. Following this, the two sprang into the air and entered the light door. Following this, the surroundings changed abruptly. Lu Ming discovered that he had appeared in a mountain range. There was no one around him. As expected, the place was random. He had been separated from Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming took out a sound-conducting jade talisman and sent a message to Xian Yanqing. Unfortunately, the message could not be sent out. At that instant, Lu Ming discovered that his spine was slightly warm, with streams of blood qi lingering in the air. These streams of blood qi gathered above Lu Ming's head and formed a blood-red key. The silver-haired old man said that the key is with each of us. Is he referring to this key? Lu Ming pondered. Perhaps each of them had a key above their heads. Let's go and take a look. Lu Ming chose a direction at random and flew into the air. After flying for a while, Lu Ming saw a floating palace high in the sky. There was actually a floating palace here. Lu Ming was very curious and he flew up. The door of the palace was tightly shut. In front of the door, there were two young men. Sure enough, it's a blood-red key. Lu Ming saw a key floating above the two young men's heads. Open! One of the young men heavily punched the door of the palace. However, the door of the palace did not move at all. Instead, it was the young man himself who was pushed back by the rebounding force. It can't be broken. I've tried before, the other young man said. At that moment, the two of them also noticed Lu Ming and looked over at Lu Ming. Lu Ming stopped at a spot not far away and sized up the hall carefully. He did not know what material the palace was made of. The young man who attacked just now was very strong and had reached the 6th level of the spirit god realm, but he still could not break it open. There are 9 small holes over there. Could they be keyholes? Lu Ming suddenly looked at a stone tablet beside the door. There were 9 small holes on the tablet, arranged in a strange pattern. The other two young men's eyes lit up. 9 small holes. Could it be that 9 people and 9 keys are needed to open it? One of the young men in black robes guessed. Swoosh. Suddenly, the 6th level spirit god realm young man pounced toward the young man in black robes like lightning. A saber light condensed in his hand and slashed toward the young man in black robes. What are you doing? Chapter 12:32. However, the black-robed youth's cultivation was only at the peak of the 4th level of the spirit god realm, and he was much weaker than his opponent. Coupled with the fact that he was in a hurry, he couldn't block the attack at all. Poochie! A bloody light burst forth as the black-robed youth's head flew high into the sky. Even his spirit god was minced into pieces. If I can seize your key, then I don't need 9 people. The youth at the 6th level of the spirit god realm revealed an icy cold smile. Subsequently, a strange scene appeared. The bloodline energy in the spine of the black-robed youth started to converge towards the blood-colored key. The blood-colored key shone resplendently as it suffused the air. Subsequently, it flew towards the youth at the 6th level of the spirit god realm and appeared above his head. 2 blood-colored keys appeared above the head of the 6th level spirit god realm youth. Haha, it was only a guess. I didn't expect that I would really be able to seize it. So long as I gather 9 keys, I'll be able to open this hall by myself and obtain the fortune within. The young man at the 6th level spirit god realm laughed and looked at Lu Ming coldly. You actually didn't flee just now. Now become my key as well. The youth revealed a ferocious expression as his killing intent was icy cold. It's actually a blood-colored key condensed from bloodline energy. How miraculous! Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to pay attention to the youth as he muttered with a curious expression. Die, kid! Killing intent bloomed in the youth's eyes when he saw Lu Ming directly ignoring him. He took a step forward and charged towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. A blade light slashed towards Lu Ming's neck. Just now, he'd killed the black-robed youth with a blade strike like this. Now, the might of this blade strike was even stronger than the previous one. It seemed like the blade light was about to slash Lu Ming's neck. 3 keys. A trace of a cold smile appeared on the youth's face as if he'd already obtained 3 keys. But in the next moment, his eyes suddenly opened wide, and there was an extremely terrified expression in his eyes. A spear light had appeared out of nowhere and pierced through his dandun. It went straight through his body and minced his spirit god into pieces. Fast, the spear light's speed was too fast, and its might was terrifying. The true essence that covered his entire body was pierced through by the spear light like paper. He opened his mouth with great difficulty, wanting to beg for mercy. The spear light shook, and the 6th level spirit god youth's body was torn into pieces. As soon as the youth died, his bloodline power gathered towards the blood-colored key. Finally, the 2 blood-colored keys floated above Lu Ming's head. Including his own, there were 3 blood-colored keys floating above Lu Ming's head. 3 keys. It seems that killing one person will allow me to obtain the other person's key. As long as I gather all 9 keys, I will be able to open the palace and obtain the fortune inside. I just don't know if there are many of these palaces. If there are many, then it will be a bloody massacre. Lu Ming sighed. In order to obtain the opportunities left behind by the heavenly god sect in the palace, those geniuses would definitely kill others to obtain the keys. Little Qing. Lu Ming was a little worried about Xian Yanqing. First, we have to find Xiao Qing. Lu Ming made up his mind and was about to leave. Bush. Two streaks of light tore through the void and appeared not far away. It's them. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Lu Ming knew both of them. Both of them were geniuses who had fought to a draw with the mainland. One of them was one of the people whom Lu Ming had defeated in the ruins of God. His cultivation was at the 6th level of the spirit god realm. The other one had short hair and looked capable. He was the second strongest genius of the continent, Lu Qingzhou. There were 2 blood-colored keys above Lu Qingzhou's head, and the other one had one. They first glanced at the palace before looking at Lu Ming. It's him. It's that kid from the divine wilderness continent. 3 blood-colored keys. Their eyes lit up when they saw Lu Ming, and then they were overjoyed. Lu Qingzhou's eyes were blazing as he laughed. It's actually this kid who dares to touch the people of the continent. Ha, give me your keys. Lu Qingzhou laughed as his figure flashed and charged towards Lu Ming, as if he was afraid that Lu Ming would escape. A scimitar appeared in Lu Qingzhou's hand and slashed towards Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming moved his feet and his figure swayed slightly, avoiding Lu Qingzhou's saber gleam. Kid, don't even think about running. Lu Qingzhou shouted coldly. I'm afraid that you'll run away. Lu Ming sneered. He took a step forward and instantly approached the other young man from the continent. Get lost. The young man shouted and performed bloodline fusion to launch his strongest attack, trying to stop Lu Ming. Although he wasn't a match for Lu Ming in the ruins of God, he could still exchange a few blows with him. Now, he was confident that he could stop Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming punched the young man's bloodline. Immediately, the young man's bloodline exploded and even his physical body was turned into dust. The young man's bloodline power gathered on the blood-colored key above his head and appeared above Lu Ming's head. There were a total of 4 blood-colored keys above Lu Ming's head. Lu Qingzhou's eyes narrowed slightly. Lu Ming's punch had shocked him. However, he was still confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. It's not bad for a mere divine wilderness continent to have a genius like you. However, you still have to die. Kill. Lu Qingzhou shouted coldly as his saber light tore through the void, creating a hideous crack in space. The sharp saber light went straight for Lu Ming's throat. You want to kill me after fighting the second strongest genius of the continent? Let's see what you're capable of. Lu Ming punched out and 8 dragon forces erupted from his body as he activated the hell-suppressing heaven skill. The void seemed to be groaning under Lu Ming's fist. The space within a radius of 1,000 miles was vibrating violently, creating many ripples. Clang! The fist collided with Lu Qingzhou's saber light. Lu Qingzhou's expression changed drastically as his body flew out like a cannonball, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. 7th level spirit god? But how can a 7th level spirit god be so strong? Lu Qingzhou roared in his heart. He could sense that Lu Ming's cultivation was at the early 7th level spirit god realm. The fact that there was a 7th level spirit god in the divine wilderness continent had already shocked him. However, his cultivation was at the late 7th level spirit god realm, which was even higher than Lu Ming's. It was shocking that he was heavily injured by a single punch. He was afraid in his heart. This is a monster. Let's go. Whoosh. Lu Qingzhou turned around and fled frantically. It's too late to leave now. Lu Ming executed the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and crossed the void in a few steps, chasing after Lu Qingzhou. He approached Lu Ming in a few breaths' time. I'll fight you to the death. Lu Qingzhou roared as he executed the bloodline fusion and turned into a saber. The saber emitted a dazzling light and slashed at Lu Ming. Clang! Lu Ming still punched out. The saber shook violently and flew far away. Clang! Then, Lu Ming punched out again. Chapter 1233. Currently, 3 of Lu Ming's 5 intents had reached the peak of the 4th level, and 2 of them had reached the peak of the 4th level. Just the combination of the 5 intents was already very powerful, not to mention the other intents. Now, Lu Ming could easily crush ordinary geniuses of the same level, even if they had awakened a 9th-level divine bloodline. The machete exploded, and Lu Qingzhou's body flew far away. His body was almost smashed, and he was covered in blood. Blood was also spurting out of his mouth. How could this be? How could he be so strong? He roared in his heart, extremely terrified. Being ranked 8th among the 42 continents of the Divine Ruins continent group meant that there were many geniuses there. For him to be ranked 2nd among so many geniuses, he was definitely 2nd only to one person and above millions of others. He was an invincible existence at the same level. But now, he was seriously injured by Lu Ming in a few punches. It was really unbelievable. All he wanted now was to escape as far as he could. But obviously, Lu Ming would not give him the chance. Bang! Lu Ming took a step forward and punched out. A violent force crushed towards Lu Qingzhou. No, no! Lu Qingzhou roared hysterically, but in the next moment his body suddenly exploded, and his body and soul were destroyed. Bloodline power gathered towards the keys, and in the next moment, 6 blood-colored keys appeared above Lu Ming's head. Buzz! At this moment, the 6 blood-colored keys vibrated as if they were resonating with each other, emitting a strong blood-colored light. Then, the light of the 6 keys gathered, forming an extremely strong blood-colored light pillar that shot up into the sky and pierced through the clouds. At this moment, even Lu Ming could see this blood-colored light pillar from a very far distance away. What's that? What a strong blood-colored light. Could a rare treasure have appeared? Let's go and take a look. Let's go. One by one, figures pounced in the direction of Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked at the light pillar above his head and was stunned. Could it be that gathering 6 keys would cause such a phenomenon? Then it would be too difficult to gather 9 keys. It would be strange if such a phenomenon did not attract other experts. There was nowhere to hide. It was too difficult to obtain the opportunity mentioned by the Heavenly God sect. If that's the case, I'll kill whoever dares to touch me. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold. He decided not to leave. He stood quietly in the void and waited. Not long after, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out continuously. 7 or 8 youths in feathered robes appeared first. It's him. It's Lu Ming. One of them was actually Muju. As soon as he saw Lu Ming, he shouted loudly, revealing a cold light. 6 keys. A mere piece of trash from the Divine Wilderness continent actually managed to gather 6 keys. It looks like his luck is pretty good. The moment he arrived, he encountered a pile of trash. A young man with black wings sneered. How strong could a person from the Divine Wilderness continent be to be able to gather 6 keys? He must have encountered a continent that was even more trashy, allowing Lu Ming to obtain the 6 keys. If I kill him, I'll be able to gather the 9 keys. A young man in silver-white feathered robes licked his lips and sneered. Lu Ming, let's see how you're going to die this time. You were lucky last time. Muju laughed. There were 7 heavens prides from the white feather continent here. One of them, the young man in white feathered robes, was an existence that had stepped onto the 36th Tiangang Peak. He was superior to the other heavens prides. With the heavens prides from the white feather continent here, he was sure that Lu Ming was going to die. Whoosh, whoosh. The sound of something breaking through the air continued to ring out. A group of youths appeared behind Lu Ming. The one in the lead had a face full of green whiskers and an extremely powerful aura. There are 6 keys. These 6 keys are mine. The young man with the green whiskers saw the 6 blood-red keys above Lu Ming's head and his eyes emitted a blazing light. There were 4 keys above his head. Adding Lu Ming's, he had 9 keys. Man Feng, it's you. On the white feather continent, the young man in silver feathered robes had a slight change in expression. The young man with the green whiskers came from the yellow verdant continent and was ranked 5th in the Divine Ruins continent group. The young man with the green whiskers was also an expert that had stepped onto the 36th Tiangang Peak. Silver Wing, what a coincidence. The young man with the green whiskers grinned. Manfeng, I found this brat first. You should leave as soon as possible. Silver Wing said coldly. What a joke. This is the Heavenly God sect's assessment. Who told you about first come first serve? It depends on ability. The keys will belong to whoever kills him first. Man Feng grinned. He looked simple and honest, but the cruel killing intent in his eyes sent chills down one's spine. At this moment, there were sounds of something breaking through the air from other directions. More young Heaven's Prides had arrived. But when they saw Man Feng and Silver Wing, their expressions changed drastically. Not good, it's the Heaven's Prides that stepped onto the 36th Tiangang Peak. Retreat. Let's go. The faces of those who came later changed drastically as they retreated. Lu Ming is dead meat. One of them was the Divine Wilderness Continent's Heaven's Pride, Lion Capital. At this moment, his eyes flashed with a gloating light as he fled far away. At this moment, Silver Wing suddenly launched an attack. A pair of silver wings appeared behind his back. Like a silver lightning bolt, he pounced towards Lu Ming. His sharp claws could tear through everything as he clawed at Lu Ming. Silver Wing, you're despicable. How dare you launch a sneak attack? This brat is mine. Man Feng roared. The roar of a beast could be heard from his body. He took a few steps in the air and charged towards Lu Ming. The two of them had completely treated Lu Ming as their prey, their key provider. In their eyes, Lu Ming's fate was already sealed. He was dead for sure. They had to be wary of him. He's mine. Silver Wing's eyes were cold. He had killed Lu Ming in one move. In this way, if he killed Lu Ming first, Lu Ming's blood-colored key would naturally belong to him. Hee, you're just ignoring me. Lu Ming's lips curled into a sneer. He shifted his feet slightly and dodged Silver Wing's claw. Brat, you still dare to dodge? That. Silver Wing roared. His claws swiftly clawed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming actually dared to dodge. He was furious. He had seized the opportunity with great difficulty. If Lu Ming dodged, wouldn't he lose it? In his heart, he did not consider that if he wanted to kill Lu Ming, wouldn't it be normal for Lu Ming to dodge? He only thought that if Lu Ming dodged, wouldn't he destroy his opportunity? Then I won't dodge. Lu Ming said indifferently. An extremely shocking aura erupted from his body. The aura of a 7th-level spirit god was completely released. The 5-colored concept revolved around him as he punched out. This punch directly hit one of Silver Wing's claws. Crack. Chapter 12:34. What? Man Feng was originally rushing towards Lu Ming, worried that Silver Wing would take the initiative. But suddenly he saw that Silver Wing's claw was injured by Lu Ming's punch, and he kept retreating. He was a little stunned. In his imagination, this was not the case at all. He was still worried that Lu Ming would be killed by the Silver Wing in 2 moves. In his heart, he was silently praying that Lu Ming could dodge and block a few moves. Never did he expect that it would actually be such a scene. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly. His killing intent was extremely strong. Shrouded by Lu Ming's killing intent, Silver Wing felt cold all over and quickly retreated. You don't want to kill me. Why are you retreating now? Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward, caught up with Silver Wing in an instant, and struck out with his palm. The power of this palm made Silver Wing's hair stand on end, and his muscles trembled in fear. Caw! A sharp cry was heard. Silver Wing turned into a big silver bird, exuding a silver light and extraordinary power. It turned out that Silver Wing was not a human, but a demon. This was his original form. In his original form, Silver Wing folded his wings and blocked in front of him, trying to block Lu Ming's attack. Bam! Lu Ming's palm slashed down, crushing the Silver Wing's protective demonic power. The palm slashed on the Silver Wing's wings, emitting a loud clang. The Silver Wing directly exploded and silver feathers flew all over the sky. Silver Wing screamed and retreated like crazy, like a silver lightning bolt. Bam! 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 Lu Ming stepped forward, using the 9 dragon sky-stomping steps. The power of each step was stronger than the previous one, and the power of each step fell on Silver Wing's body. With each step, Silver Wing's body shook violently. When Lu Ming took the 8th step, Silver Wing let out a shrill scream, and then his body was torn apart. Silver blood scattered in the air. How can he be so strong? On the other side, Man Feng was flabbergasted. Then he felt a chill in his heart. It was too shocking. Silver Wing's battle prowess was about the same as his, but in Lu Ming's hands he was killed in just a few moves. This was too terrifying. This was the first thing that flashed through his mind. Then he turned around and ran. Didn't you want my key? Why are you running away now? A cold voice rang in Man Feng's ears. Man Feng roared in fright. He exploded with all his strength and punched towards Lu Ming. But what welcomed him was Lu Ming's punch. Bang! When the two fists collided, Man Feng felt a sharp pain in his arm. The bones in his arm had been broken by Lu Ming's punch. Boom! 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 Following that was Lu Ming's storm-like attacks. The shadows of his fists were like mountains, enveloping brute wind. No! Man Feng roared, but in the next moment, he was drowned out. Then, with a scream, Man Feng was killed. Two top powerhouses who could step foot on the 36th Tiangang Peak were killed by Lu Ming in an instant. How could this be? Not too far away, the geniuses of the White Feather Continent and the Yellow Verdant Continent looked at this scene in shock. They were completely dumbfounded. How is this possible? How is this possible? Especially Mu Ju, he kept muttering, completely unable to accept everything in front of him. Lu Ming's battle prowess was very strong. He had long known that Lu Ming had killed so many experts in the ruins of God. Even the experts at the Great Perfection Spirit God realm were no match for Lu Ming. However, the geniuses who could set foot on the 36 Tiangang peaks had the battle prowess of a Great Perfection Spirit God. They could even kill a Great Perfection Spirit God. Their battle prowess was incomparably close to that of a Supreme Being. They were definitely above Lu Ming at that time. He originally thought that with Silver Wing's battle prowess, it was enough to kill Lu Ming. But now, Lu Ming effortlessly slashed Silver Wings and Brute Wind consecutively. He did not even unleash his bloodline. This kind of combat power was simply too shocking and terrifying. Mu Ju, it's your turn now. At this moment, Lu Ming looked at Mu Ju with eyes full of killing intent. No. Mu Ju was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He screamed and ran back frantically. The others also dispersed in an uproar. Lu Ming's figure was like lightning, rushing towards Mu Ju. No, don't kill me. Help. Mu Ju screamed crazily, completely without the courage to resist. Didn't you want to kill me? Lu Ming said. No, please let me go. Mu Ju was about to cry. Why didn't you consider letting me go when we were in the ruins of God? Lu Ming sneered. His killing intent was incomparably cold. He must kill Mu Ju. Lu Ming, I'm the young lord of the Mu family. My father is the patriarch of the Mu family, an emperor. If you want to kill me, no one can save you. You're dead meat. Mu Ju screamed. Seeing that begging for mercy didn't work, he began to threaten. That's my business. You don't have to worry about it. Lu Ming sneered unmoved. But Mu Ju was trembling in fear. He only knew how to scream. Kill. Lu Ming was too lazy to talk nonsense with Mu Ju. With a palm strike, Mu Ju didn't have the slightest strength to resist and was killed by Lu Ming. Buzz. At this moment, the light above Lu Ming's head was even more dazzling. The blood-red light pillar was even more brilliant, because there were a total of 9 blood-red keys floating above Lu Ming's head. Why are there only 9? Lu Ming was surprised. Just now, he had killed Silver Wing and Man Feng. Logically speaking, he should have obtained more than 10 keys from them. But now, there were only 9 keys above Lu Ming's head. It seems that I can only get 9 keys at a time. Any more and it would be a waste. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Let's open that palace first. Lu Ming's eyes looked at the palace. Suddenly, Lu Ming's hair stood on end. He felt a sense of danger approaching rapidly. In the sky, a sword light fell from the sky, aiming at Lu Ming. Before the sword light arrived, a terrifying chill descended, as if it was going to freeze Lu Ming completely. Boom! Without any hesitation, Lu Ming threw a punch at the sword light. With a bang, the sword light exploded and turned into ice shards that scattered in all directions. It was an ice sword. As for Lu Ming, He took 3 consecutive steps back. So cold, such a terrifying chill. Lu Ming felt his fist go numb. He looked down and saw a layer of ice crystals on his fist. His fist was covered with 5 types of essence of heaven and earth and was covered by his vital essence. Under his skin, there was also a layer of dragon power due to the outburst of dragon power. However, the cold air actually penetrated multiple layers of defense and was about to freeze Lu Ming's fist. Lu Ming had never seen such a chill before. Lu Ming looked up at the sky and saw a young man in white walking towards Lu Ming step by step. There were 5 keys floating above this person's head. It's him! Lu Ming's eyes moved. This person was one of the 4 strongest geniuses of the North Divine Palace. He was as famous as Ji Hongqian and Wang Zhen. Ice Dragon. Chapter 12:35. Not bad. You were able to take one of my attacks and only took 3 steps back. You're pretty strong. Ice Dragon stepped down step by step and spoke calmly, looking high and mighty. He had seen how Lu Ming killed Silver Wing and Man Feng, but he was still full of confidence. Stepping onto the 36th astral peak didn't mean anything. He didn't care about Silver Wing and Man Feng at all. You want my key too? Lu Ming looked at Ice Dragon and asked. I can't miss this chance. You can only blame yourself for being too unlucky. Ice Dragon said coldly, as if he was certain that Lu Ming would be defeated. You're that confident? Silver Wing and Man Feng were also that confident, but they ended up giving me your key. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Don't compare me with those 2 trash. Otherwise, you'll realize that you've made a huge mistake. Ice Dragon smiled confidently. He walked toward Lu Ming as he spoke, and a terrifying chill spread out from his body. Lu Ming's true yuan boiled and burned fiercely. It seems like you want to fight to the death. You're like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Ice Dragon's voice turned cold, and countless ice crystals appeared around him. That was the condensation of the water vapor in the air, which had been frozen by the cold air. Even the wind around the Ice Dragon had stopped, as if it had been frozen. Ice Dragon pointed at Lu Ming, and a terrifying chill shot toward Lu Ming. The chill seemed to be able to freeze everything in its path. Boom! Lu Ming's true yuan roared in his body, and the 5 intents of heaven and earth were circulated to the extreme. A pair of 5-colored gloves formed on his fists, and he punched out at the attack. Bang! An intense explosion rang out, and a white, cold chi ripple spread out in all directions. At this moment, with them as the center, the sky for thousands of miles around them turned white, and countless ice crystals appeared. Lu Ming's body swayed and he took 2 steps back. So cold! This time, not only Lu Ming's fists, but even his body was covered in a layer of white ice crystals. Ice Dragon raised his eyebrows. He was surprised that Lu Ming had managed to block his attack. He was confident that he could kill geniuses like Silver Wing and Man Feng with this single finger. Icebound 10,000 miles. The cold aura around Ice Dragon's body became even colder. This time, it changed from a finger to a palm. With a palm strike, cold aura filled the sky and enveloped Lu Ming. At this moment, space seemed to have been frozen. Lu Ming felt as if his body had sunk into a swamp, unable to move. It's your honor to die from this move of mine. Ice Dragon's cold voice sounded. Really? Then let's try the 9th dragon force. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up into a sneer as a dragon's roar resounded from within his body. The 9th dragon's force erupted. At this moment, Lu Ming's body was suffused with a layer of purple sparkling light. Even his muscles were slightly wriggling. This power! Lu Ming seemed to have transformed into 9 dragons. His dragon power was boiling, and he was filled with endless power. Boom! With a punch, with Lu Ming as the center, the space within a 10-mile radius was annihilated and turned into nothingness. The feeling of sinking into a swamp also disappeared without a trace. Boom! Then, another punch was thrown towards Ice Dragon, colliding with his palm. This power! When the fist and palm collided, Ice Dragon's face changed drastically. His body trembled as 9 layers of ice crystals appeared in front of him. At the same time, he quickly retreated. Boom boom, the 9 layers of ice crystals turned into ashes under Lu Ming's terrifying power. Chi-Chi, the ice crystals contained endless cold aura. They wanted to freeze Lu Ming, but they were all repelled by Lu Ming's power. This cold aura seems to be the ice concept. But why is it so terrifying? The temperature is so low. Lu Ming was a little surprised. He had come into contact with the concept of ice many times. Although its power was great, it was still worlds apart from the ice dragon. Ice dragon's ice concept was extremely powerful. Lu Ming had never seen it before. Lu Ming was surprised, but ice dragon's heart was in turmoil. Lu Ming could actually force him back, which was beyond his expectations. Looks like you were hiding your strength before. Your strength is indeed shocking, but it's still too early to fight with me. Ice Dragon's voice became colder and colder. The aura on his body also became stronger and colder. 8th level Spirit God Realm was Ice Dragon's cultivation. At such a young age, his cultivation had already reached the 8th level Spirit God Realm. Coupled with the terrifying ice concept, it was easy for Ice Dragon to kill a perfected spirit god. Concept martial technique, absolute 0. At this moment, Ice Dragon performed bloodline fusion and turned into an ice sword. The sword light was shocking. The moment this sword light appeared, everything in the world seemed to stop moving. It was as if everything in the world had stopped moving. There was only that sword light in the world. The ice sword slashed towards Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes also became serious. Ice Dragon's cultivation was originally 1 level higher than his. Coupled with the terrifying ice concept, his battle strength was extremely shocking. Ice Dragon did have the right to be arrogant. People like Silver Wing and Manfeng weren't even worthy of carrying Ice Dragon's shoes. They were too far apart and could be killed with a casual move. The 9 dragons' bloodline appeared above Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming also performed bloodline fusion and turned into 9 dragons. The 9 dragons stepped into the air and charged towards Ice Dragon. The two of them started a great battle. Boom boom boom. This part of the world exploded. Endless energy mixed with terrifying coldness wreaked havoc in the world. In the distance, some people saw Lu Ming's blood-colored light pillar and wanted to rush over to check the situation. But thousands of miles away, they all widened their eyes in horror and then turned around to leave. Heavens, how can he be so strong? Is he still in the same generation as us? Too terrifying. With such strength, he can almost fight with a sovereign, right? Run quickly. Those sky prides scattered in all directions in fear, not daring to get too close for fear of being sucked in and dying an unnatural death. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Ice Dragon had exchanged dozens of moves. Dragon roars shook the sky. Lu Ming became more and more courageous as he fought. Every inch of the 9 dragons' body was a weapon of war. He used the true dragon battle technique, 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, and the suppressing hell-heaven skill one after another. The power of the 9 dragons seemed to be able to destroy everything. The power of the suppressing hell-heaven skill seemed to be able to suppress everything. Although the Ice Dragon's frost concept was extremely terrifying, Lu Ming had comprehended 5 types of heaven and earth concepts after all. If he gathered them together, he would be able to contend with it. Rip. With a swipe of his dragon claw, he broke through Ice Dragon's layer of ice battle armor and left a deep mark on it. Bang! The divine dragon swung its tail and the suppressing hell-heaven skill exploded, sending Ice Dragon flying. Who is this person? Which continent is he from? He actually has such shocking battle strength. Chapter 12:36. I'll let you off this time. Let's fight again next time. After saying that, the Ice Dragon turned around and left. Just like that, it escaped. Lu Ming did not chase after him. He transformed back into his human form and looked coldly in the direction that Ice Dragon had left. Ice Dragon was indeed very strong. Lu Ming still had some tricks up his sleeve and had not activated his 3rd bloodline. However, even if he did, he might not be able to kill Ice Dragon. Moreover, he already had 9 keys. Even if he killed Ice Dragon, he would not be able to obtain more keys. Let's see what's inside the palace. Lu Ming flew into the sky and came to the front of the palace. There was a stone tablet in front of the door of the palace. There were 9 small holes on the tablet that looked like keyholes. With a thought, the 9 keys above his head flew toward the 9 small holes. The 9 keys all entered the small holes. Crack! The door of the palace opened. Just as I thought. Lu Ming revealed a smile. Without hesitation, he stepped out and walked into the main door of the hall. As soon as Lu Ming walked in, the door of the palace closed again. There was a large hall in the palace. Lu Ming looked around. Lu Ming found that there were several platforms in the hall. There were balls of light on the platforms. He could see that there were symbols under the balls of light. On one of the platforms, there were some elixir symbols under the balls of light. The expert of the Heavenly God sect said that there was an opportunity in this small plane. The key was with each of them. The opportunity he mentioned should be these balls of light. Lu Ming guessed and continued to look around. The symbols under the balls of light on the other platform were much more complicated. Below some of the balls of light, there were lightning patterns. Below some of the balls of light, there were flame patterns, water patterns, tornadoes, and so on. What's in these balls of light? How many can I choose? They can't all be mine, right? Lu Ming guessed. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming walked to the ball of light with the lightning pattern and reached out to grab it. The ball of light shattered, and a jade talisman appeared in Lu Ming's hand. So easy? Lu Ming was a little surprised. Then, his eyes lit up and he reached out to grab another ball of light. He didn't move an inch. That ball of light seemed to be a layer of protective shield, firmly blocking Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his quintessential essence and even unleashed his dragon power. However, the ball of light did not budge at all. He could not break it at all. Following that, Lu Ming switched to another ball of light, but the result was still the same. Lu Ming tried almost all the balls of light, but none of them could be broken. It seems that I can only obtain the items in one light ball each time I enter. Lu Ming guessed, but he could only give up. I wonder what's recorded in the pendant? Lu Ming was a little curious. What was the opportunity that the Heavenly God sect was talking about? His soul sense submerged into the jade plate, and he began to examine it carefully. It's a martial skill, a low-grade deity-level martial skill. In 10th level martial skill? Lu Ming's eyes flashed with doubt after he took a look. What was an in 10th level martial skill? Lu Ming only knew about bloodline martial skills. Apart from bloodline martial skills, all other martial skills were ordinary martial skills. How could there be an in 10th level martial skill? Lu Ming had never heard of it before. Immediately, Lu Ming read the contents carefully. Thunder God Strike was the name of this martial skill. So amazing, so magical. After reading for a while, Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was filled with amazement. He finally understood what an in 10th level martial skill was. Ordinary martial artists comprehended the in 10th level of heaven and earth. As their cultivation level increased, their power would become stronger. However, they had not unearthed the true power of the in 10th level. Ordinary martial artists could only use the power of the in 10th level crudely. For example, Lu Ming's fusion of 5 types of intent levels was only used to increase Lu Ming's attack power. However, the deeper aspects of each intent level were not unearthed. As for intent level martial skills, through special operations and application of martial skills, the power of the intent level could be displayed to the fullest, and the hidden power of the intent level could be used to the extreme. Lu Ming had never heard of intent level martial skills in the Divine Wilderness continent. Intent level martial skills were the same as ordinary martial skills. They were low-grade deity level and high-grade deity level. Low-grade deity level intent level martial skills were mainly about the deeper application of the intent level. As for high-grade deity level martial skills, they were not considered intent level martial skills. They should be called domain martial skills, and they could be used to the extreme of an emperor's domain. The power of intent level martial skills was several times stronger than ordinary martial skills, and even bloodline martial skills. Its power was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming looked carefully, and the more he looked, the more shocked he was. What a powerful and terrifying power. However, this is too profound. The difficulty of cultivating it is shockingly high. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Intent-level martial skills were powerful, but at the same time, it was even more difficult to cultivate. Lu Ming felt that even though they were both inferior-grade divine-level martial techniques, the concept martial techniques were 100 times more difficult to cultivate than ordinary inferior-grade divine-level martial techniques. Yes, 100 times. Intent-level martial skills were 100 times harder to cultivate than ordinary martial skills. Lu Ming frowned and looked carefully. In the end, he simply took out the Enlightenment ancient tree and placed it beside him to help him comprehend. Unknowingly, Lu Ming's mind sank into the Thunder God strike, carefully comprehending its mysteries. After the War of Providence, Lu Ming's comprehension had increased tenfold. At this moment, under the Enlightenment ancient tree, his understanding of the Thunder God strike was rapidly increasing. Lu Ming was completely immersed in the cultivation of the Thunder God strike. Unknowingly, 7 days had passed. Zzz, bolts of lightning swam around Lu Ming's body, as if they were alive, as if they had spirituality. In the end, there were more and more thunderbolts on Lu Ming's body and they became thinner and thinner. In the end, the endless thunderbolts were thinner than a strand of hair. Countless such thin thunderbolts were actually woven together to form a thunderbolt combat suit. It looked exactly the same as ordinary clothes. There was no difference at all. However, if anyone touched it with their hands, they would be struck to ashes by the power of lightning. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes. The first level of the Thunder God strike has been successfully cultivated. Lu Ming muttered to himself. After 7 days of comprehension, Lu Ming had successfully cultivated the first level of the Thunder God strike. This speed was already very shocking. Some peerless geniuses could not cultivate the first level even if they spent their entire lives. Intent-level martial skills are indeed amazing. It can fully unleash the potential of the lightning intent level. I'm still at the first level. The further I cultivate, the stronger the power will be. Lu Ming looked at the Thunder Battle suit on his body. With a thought, the Thunder Battle suit dissipated into nothingness. It seems that Ice Dragon should also be cultivating intent-level martial skills. No wonder the Ice intent level can unleash such terrifying power. Lu Ming thought of Ice Dragon. Chapter 1237. The Divine Ruins Continent was worthy of being the top continent in the Divine Ruins Continent. Martial techniques that had never been heard of in the Divine Wilderness Continent were actually passed down here. Perhaps the 4 great palaces all had their own martial techniques. Most of the strongest geniuses in the 4 great palaces had come into contact with them. After cultivating for many years, their power must be extraordinary. Lu Ming guessed that Ice Dragon should have cultivated the Ice Will martial technique to the 2nd level. I didn't expect that 7 days have passed unknowingly. It's time to go out. I wonder how Xiao Qing is doing? Lu Ming was a little worried. He had fallen into the previous comprehension unknowingly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to comprehend it at this time. He would have definitely looked for Xian Yanqing first. This place was too dangerous. The geniuses were killing each other to seize each other's keys and obtain opportunities. Even with Xian Yanqing's cultivation and combat strength, it was still dangerous. Without hesitation, Lu Ming walked out. Gotcha. When Lu Ming came to the door opened automatically. Lu Ming stepped out. When Lu Ming went out, the door closed automatically. A blood-red key flew out of the 9 keyholes on the stone tablet and floated above Lu Ming's head. It was Lu Ming's key. As for the other 8 keys, they disappeared. At this moment, a few figures flew out from the mountains below. Sure enough, someone has entered the palace. Stop him. Don't let him go. It's him. I recognize him. He's from the Divine Wilderness Continent. Voices rang out. Lu Ming even recognized one of them. It was the top genius of the Divine Crocodile Continent, Yiquang. After this period of time, Yiquang's cultivation had also broken through the bottleneck and stepped into the 6th level spirit god. A total of 3 people surrounded Lu Ming in 3 directions. When they came here some time ago, they discovered that there were 9 keyholes on the stone tablet in front of the door. They knew that someone had entered. The few of them waited in the mountain ridge below. True enough, they saw Lu Ming coming out from it. This person can't be underestimated. His combat strength is not weak. Yi Kuang said solemnly. What are you afraid of? With the 3 of us working together, there's no need to be afraid of him. Another young man said. Scram. Lu Ming coldly shouted. You are courting death. Let's join hands and kill him. A young man roared. Bang. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming stepped forward and punched out, shattering the man's body into pieces. Following that, Lu Ming charged towards Yi Kuang and his companion. No? Yi Kuang roared in horror. Bang. Bang. With 2 explosions, 2 more corpses appeared on the scene, and 3 more keys appeared above Lu Ming's head, turning it back into 4 keys. Lu Ming did not stop. He used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and flew in a certain direction. At the same time, he spread out his spiritual sense to search for Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming's figure was like a bolt of lightning, extremely fast. In just a short while, they had already flown over 100,000 miles. Along the way, Lu Ming saw no less than 10 palaces in the sky. There were indeed many palaces in this world. Suddenly, Lu Ming looked to the front. There was a blood-colored light pillar that soared into the sky. Obviously, someone had obtained more than 6 keys, which was why the blood-red light beam was triggered. I wonder if Shaoqing is over there. Let's go and see. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He took a step forward and flew in that direction. After flying for a while, Lu Ming saw that there were also sky prides flying in that direction from other directions. Obviously, the others had also seen the light beam. Someone has obtained more than 6 keys. Quick, don't let others get ahead of us. Voices sounded one after another. Lu Ming took a casual glance and saw no less than 10 young men flying towards the blood-red light beam. Shirdu. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Among these people, Lu Ming saw Shirdu's aura was at the 4th level of the spirit god realm. Obviously, he had also broken through to the 4th level during this period. Ahead, on a mountain peak, everyone saw a young man in blue. There were 7 blood-red keys above his head. It's him. He's only at the peak of the 4th level of the spirit god realm. He's mine. Sensing the young man's cultivation, many people's eyes emitted a blazing light. Nearly 1,000 young sky prides had entered this time. The weakest of them was even at the 2nd level of the spirit god realm. There were even some at the 3rd level of the spirit god realm. This person was at the peak of the 4th level of the spirit god realm. If they were lucky, he would really obtain 7 keys. If they could kill this person and obtain his 7 keys, they would be able to easily obtain 9 keys and enter the floating palaces to obtain opportunities. The young man in blue was shocked when he saw so many people. He turned around and fled. Where do you think you're going? It's too late to escape. Cold shouts sounded. More than 10 figures chased after the young man in blue. Lu Ming frowned. He faintly felt that something was wrong. However, he was fearless and chased after him from afar. In a flash, the young man in blue fled into a valley. Suddenly swoosh, 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 swoosh. 7 or 8 young men in blue suddenly flew out of the valley. Many of them had 5 or 4 blood-red keys floating above their heads. Ha! So many big fish. We're rich. These people laughed loudly. Not good. We've fallen into a trap. Let's go. The young men who were chasing after them were shocked. They knew that they had fallen into a trap. That blue-clothed young man at the peak of the 4th level of the spirit god realm was only bait, and he intentionally obtained the 7 keys in order to draw others to kill him and then lead them into the trap. It's too late to leave now. The few young men in blue clothes sneered as they revealed powerful auras. 2 of them had even reached the terrifying 7th level of the spirit god realm. They were extremely fast. They stepped into the air and surrounded Lu Ming's group. 7th level of the spirit god realm. It's over. They're dead. Someone was terrified. Shirdo was the same. He was terrified and wanted to escape. However, he was surrounded by the young men in blue from all directions. Lu Ming. Shirdo turned around and saw Lu Ming. Previously, his attention was always on the young man in blue and he didn't see Lu Ming. Only now did he see him. His eyes flashed with astonishment. 7 days ago, he saw Lu Ming being surrounded by Silver Wing and Man Feng. He thought that Lu Ming was dead for sure. He didn't expect that Lu Ming was still alive and well. However, he didn't have time to be astonished. Escaping was more important. Die! The 7 young men in blue attacked. Their sword lights slashed out. Suddenly, screams sounded out. 5 young men were killed in an instant. The remaining few fought with all their might to block the attack. Shirdo was a little more agile. He dodged the attack. Bang! Lu Ming waved his palm and destroyed the sword chi. Kill. Chapter 12:38. Lion Do and the other young man were lucky enough to survive, but they were terrified to the point of screaming repeatedly. They were utterly no match for the 2 blue-clothed young men at the 7th level of the spirit god realm. They were too strong and could crush them. No, I don't want to die. Lion Do roared madly in his heart. He was extremely anxious in his heart, and his mind was swiftly thinking of countermeasures. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Lu Ming. 7 days ago, Lu Ming was clearly surrounded by Silver Wing and Man Feng, but he was still alive and well now. Lu Ming might be able to save him. He hurriedly charged towards Lu Ming and shouted, "Lu Ming, save me, save me." "Why should I save you?" Lu Ming sneered. Swish. At this moment, a young man at the 7th level of the spirit god realm made a move, and a sword light pierced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming blasted out with a punch and dispersed the sword light. This caused the blue-clothed young man at the 7th level of the spirit god realm to frown, whereas Lion Do's eyes lit up. Lu Ming was able to block the attack of a 7th level spirit god. At this moment, Lion Do seemed as if he'd grabbed onto a life-saving straw. We're from the same place, the same continent. At this moment we have to work together. Lion Do shouted loudly. Work together? Why didn't you work together when I was trapped 7 days ago? Lu Ming sneered. 7 days ago, Lu Ming had noticed Lion Do's figure from the corner of his eyes. At that time, Lion Do fled faster than anyone, and he even took pleasure in Lion Do's misfortune. Now, Lion Do wanted him to save his life? Wasn't that laughable? I'm weak. Lion Do shouted loudly. What's the point of leaving a weak piece of trash in this world? Lu Ming smiled faintly, and then his figure flashed and left Lion Do. No, save me. Lion Do was almost scared to the point of wetting himself when he saw Lu Ming leave, and he wailed. Lu Ming, save me. I'm willing to be your mount as long as you save me. I'm not interested in a mount of trash like you. Lu Ming said. At this moment, a blue-clothed young man at the 7th level of the spirit god realm approached Lion Do and slashed out with his sword. The lion roared unwillingly and resisted with all its might. However, it was completely useless as its head was sliced off by the sword. Lion Do die. At this moment, only Lu Ming's to kill Lion Do. Let's join forces. A blue-clothed youth at the 7th level of the spirit god realm spoke. Lu Ming did not see Xian Yanqing. He was somewhat disappointed and wanted to leave. Since you've seen us attack, do you still want to leave? A blue-clothed youth at the 7th level of the spirit god realm sneered. They came from a famous continent. However, if word spread that they had hunted and killed other elites, it would not be good for their reputation. Therefore, Lu Ming had to die. What's the point of talking nonsense with him? Let's attack together, kill him, and leave this place quickly. Roar! Lu Ming unleashed the power of 8 dragons and punched out 8 times in a row. 8 punches blasted out, and the 8 sword lights instantly collapsed. The punches didn't stop and continued to blast forward. 2 young men with weaker cultivations were directly penetrated by the punches. The remaining 4 coughed up mouthfuls of blood and retreated with heavy injuries. Even the 2 7th-level spirit god realm geniuses retreated wildly. Their expressions changed drastically. Not good. This person is too strong. Let's retreat. One of the 7th-level spirit god realm geniuses roared in fear and wanted to escape. Kill! Lu Ming stepped forward. His fist aura was shocking, shrouding the remaining 6 people. A few shrill cries resounded out successively as the remaining blue-clothed young men were annihilated. Even if there were 2 existences at the 7th level of the spirit god realm, they were only able to resist a few moves before being annihilated as well. In just a short moment, more than a dozen geniuses had died in this area. These geniuses stood at the peak of their respective continents. They looked down on their peers and were invincible. They had awakened a 9th-level divine bloodline, and it was certain that they would become emperors in the future. But here, their lives were like grass that were constantly being harvested. This way, Lu Ming was even more worried about Xian Yanqing's safety. Buzz. 9 blood-red keys floated above Lu Ming's head, and a beam of light shot up into the sky. However, Lu Ming didn't have the time to pay attention to it, nor did he have the time to open a palace and obtain the fortuitous opportunities inside. He only wanted to find Xian Yanqing first. He stepped forward and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps to the extreme, flying into the distance. His speed was extremely fast, and he was like a bolt of lightning that flashed in the sky. What's that? A beam of blood-red light? It looks like a blood-red beam of light. There was a blood-red beam of light above Lu Ming's head. Under Lu Ming's high-speed flight, it was like a huge blood-red iron rod that swept across the void, attracting the attention of many people. But many people had only just seen it when the blood-red beam of light had already disappeared into the distance. It was truly too fast. Lu Ming used his spiritual sense to the extreme and radiated it in all directions to search for Xian Yanqing's whereabouts. Fortunately, this small world wasn't very big. Lu Ming quickly arrived at the end. Ahead was a chaotic void. Lu Ming turned around and continued to search. An intense battle was taking place in the sky above a lake. 2 7th-level spirit god experts were joining forces to battle a peerless beauty. This woman was precisely Xian Yanqing. At this moment, there were 5 blood-red keys above Xian Yanqing's head. And the 2 7th-level spirit god youths each had 5 blood-red keys. The 2 7th-level spirit god experts joining forces were actually unable to take down Xian Yanqing for a moment. After more than 7 days, Xian Yanqing's cultivation had improved again, reaching the peak of the 6th-level spirit god. However, her combat strength was incomparably terrifying, and she could fight 2 7th-level spirit god geniuses by herself. Devilish chi seethed on Xian Yanqing's body, and it was vast and mighty as it formed numerous terrifying devilish palm prints that smashed towards the other 7th-level spirit god realm expert and entered into a battle with the other 2. For a time, it was difficult to determine the outcome. Not far from the battlefield, there were 3 figures. One of the youths had a tall and sturdy figure, and he had a huge golden hoop on his nose. He crossed his arms and watched quietly. At the side, the other 2 youths stood respectfully by his side. I didn't expect that a woman who hasn't grasped a concept martial skill would actually have such combat strength. It's truly rare. The youth with the nostril hoop spoke indifferently as he looked at Xian Yanqing's peerless beauty, and his eyes flashed with a fiery light. This woman is indeed powerful. If young Master Niu can take her down, you can take her as a concubine. At the side, a youth revealed a flattering smile and flattered. The youth with the nostril hoop revealed an expression of interest and said, "Yes, let's wait and see." Damn it. Who is this woman? She actually has such combat strength. We must take her down as soon as possible and not be looked down upon by young Master Niu. One of the youths that besieged Xian Yanqing roared in his heart. The 2 of them gnashed their teeth and attacked Xian Yanqing with all their strength. Chapter 1239. Although Xian Yanqing was at a disadvantage, her expression was calm. The demonic aura on her body slowly converged and covered her body like a battle armor. God-slaying demonic sword. Suddenly, Xian Yanqing's glabella lit up and a black demonic sword flew out and slashed down at one of the experts in the 7th level of the spirit god realm. The other party attacked to block, but Xian Yanqing's demonic sword was like an illusion. It slashed through the other party's attack and layers of defense, cutting through the other party's glabella. There was no wound, but the other party's eyes suddenly widened and revealed an extremely shocked expression. But in the next moment, the other party's eyes lost focus and his body fell down. This person was killed by Xian Yanqing with a single slash. Swoosh. After killing this person, Xian Yanqing controlled the demonic sword and slashed across the other person's body. There was still no wound, but that person screamed and his body shook violently. He frantically retreated and his aura was weak, as if he had been seriously injured. What a pity! Xian Yanqing muttered. Then her delicate body trembled and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her small face was a little pale. Obviously, that move just now had put a huge burden on her. How is this possible? The two people beside the nostril ring youth were dumbfounded. God-slaying spirit god realm, what a powerful move. The nostril ring youth had a grave expression, but the light in his eyes was even more intense. You get lost, you useless thing. The nostril ring youth stepped out and casually glanced at the injured young man and coldly scolded. The young man gritted his teeth, but he didn't dare to refute. This nostril ring youth was one of the 3 strongest geniuses of the Western God Palace. His strength was terrifying and his methods were cruel. He didn't dare to refute. Girl, surrender. Although you have some skills, you don't have the power to resist in front of me. The nostril ring youth walked step by step towards Xian Yanqing. His aura was getting stronger and stronger. The 8th level of the spirit god realm. Xian Yanqing's eyes flashed with a hint of decisiveness. This nostril-hooded youth was giving her immense pressure, but it was impossible for her to surrender. Xian Yanqing's stature flashed, and he retreated like a wisp of devil light. You can't escape from me. The young man with the nostril ring did not panic. Lightning flashed on his body and his body seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning. He tore through the void and approached Xian Yanqing at an extremely fast speed. At the same time, the youth with the nostril ring waved his hand, and a chain completely condensed from thunder and lightning wrapped around Xian Yanqing. Sky Demon Force Field. Xian Yanqing shouted as the heavenly demon force field exploded with full force. At the same time, she used bloodline fusion to increase the power of the heavenly demon force field to the extreme. Within the heavenly demon force field, the lightning chain's speed suddenly slowed down. What a miraculous force field! It has a trace of the power of a domain. Unfortunately, your cultivation is too weak. The youth with the nostril ring's eyes turned cold. Lightning flashed all over his body, and the lightning chain suddenly exerted force, cutting the heavenly demon force field in half and wrapping around Xian Yanqing at an extremely fast speed. Heavenly Demon Great Palm. Xian Yanqing's heavenly demon bloodline sent out a few palm prints, but they exploded after being hit by the lightning chain. Xian Yanqing's face turned even paler, and she spat out another mouthful of blood. I said, you can't resist in front of me. The youth with the nostril ring spoke coldly with an arrogant expression. God-slaying demon sword. Xian Yanqing gritted her teeth. Ignoring her injuries, she unleashed the full power of the god-slaying demon sword. Her forehead glowed, and a black sword light slashed through the void toward the youth with the nostril ring. Facing this sword, the youth with the nostril ring revealed a slightly serious expression, and the power of thunder and lightning on his body surged. 9 Thunder Sword. The youth with the nostril ring slashed down with his hand, and a battle sword flashing with lightning slashed out, clashing with Xian Yanqing's demonic sword. With a bang, the 9 Thunder Sword gave off a blazing light, hoping to block the demonic sword. But in the end, it only blocked a portion of the sword, and a small portion continued to slash toward the youth with the nostril ring. Block it! The youth with the nostril ring was covered in lightning, forming a lightning armor that blocked the demonic sword. In the end, the demonic sword was weakened layer by layer, and only a sliver of it reached the youth with the nostril ring. The youth with the nostril ring trembled as if he had been struck by lightning, and he took a step back. Damn it! You dare to injure my soul! The youth with the nostril ring roared, and his expression was extremely dark. Xian Yanqing's body trembled, and she retreated, spitting out another mouthful of blood. "Little girl, I didn't want to hurt you, but you asked for it." The youth with the nostril ring shouted coldly, and his body was covered in lightning. He stepped forward and quickly approached Xian Yanqing. "Lu Ming!" Xian Yanqing sighed in her heart, and then a trace of viciousness appeared in her eyes. Even if she died, she would not let herself fall into the hands of the youth with the nostril ring. "Ah, what's that?" Suddenly, a youth looked into the distance and exclaimed. The youth with the nostril ring and Xian Yanqing subconsciously looked in that direction. In that direction, a blood-red beam of light was moving at a terrifying speed. It was as if a blood-red stick was tearing through the void. Rumble! The sound of space exploding was heard, and they saw a youth flying toward them at a terrifying speed. Because he was so fast, the space was shattered. "Lu Ming!" Xian Yanqing exclaimed. The person who came was Lu Ming. "Halt!" A youth stepped out and blocked Lu Ming's path. "Get lost!" Lu Ming shouted coldly and threw out a punch. The terrifying fist force enveloped the youth with an unstoppable force. The youth's pupils dilated rapidly, and in the next moment he screamed in pain and his body exploded in the air. Lu Ming's figure flashed and appeared beside Xian Yanqing. "Little Qing, you're injured." Seeing Xian Yanqing's pale face and the blood at the corner of her mouth, Lu Ming's heart ached. However, he was relieved that Xian Yanqing was fine. "Lu Ming, I'm fine." Xian Yanqing smiled. She was so beautiful that even the young man with the nostril ring was stunned by her beauty. "Little Qing, don't worry, I'll avenge you." Lu Ming stretched out his hand and wiped away the blood at the corner of Xian Yanqing's mouth. Seeing Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's intimate expressions, the youth with the nostril ring showed jealousy in his eyes. He shouted coldly, "Brat, how dare you kill my men and stand beside my woman? You're courting death." "Your woman?" Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He looked at the youth with the nostril ring and said, "Just because of what you said, I'll kill you." "Ah, kill me? Brat, with just you?" The youth with the nostril ring laughed. "Lu Ming, be careful. This person is one of the 3 strongest geniuses of the West Divine Palace, Lei Niu." Xian Yanqing whispered. "Don't worry, he'll become a dead bull soon." Chapter 1240. Die! Lei Niu shouted coldly and waved his hand. A lightning chain flew out and wrapped around Lu Ming. Dragon roars came from Lu Ming's body. At this moment, Lu Ming unleashed 9 strands of dragon energy. Lei Niu was one of the 3 strongest geniuses of the Western Divine Palace. He was at the same level as Ice Dragon. It was very likely that he had grasped a martial skill. Lu Ming naturally wouldn't be careless. 9 strands of dragon energy exploded out. Boom! Lei Niu threw out a punch and the space within a dozen miles exploded into nothingness. Lei Niu's lightning chain also collapsed in an instant. A terrifying fist energy continued to fly towards Lei Niu. Lei Niu's face changed drastically. The power of Lu Ming's punch was too shocking. It had far exceeded his expectations. 9 lightning sword. A huge lightning sword appeared in Lei Niu's hand and he slashed down. Boom! The lightning sword and Lu Ming's fist energy clashed. The sky was filled with lightning. Half of the sky was filled with lightning. It was like a punishment from the heavens. It's indeed a martial skill. Furthermore, it's like the thunder god's strike. It's a martial skill with the thunder intent. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Lei Niu had used the thunder intent to a terrifying extent. There was no other way to use it other than a martial skill with the thunder intent. Kill! Lei Niu roared and charged towards Lu Ming with the lightning sword in his hand. Lu Ming's strength made Lei Niu want to kill him. Kill! Lu Ming also charged towards Lei Niu. The 5-colored intent revolved around him. With a wave of his hand, the terrifying power of the suppressing Hell Heaven skill exploded out. Boom! Lu Ming threw out another punch at the 9 lightning sword. The land of lightning was like the might of the heavens. However, Lu Ming wasn't afraid of the might of the heavens. He broke through the might of the heavens and charged upwards, destroying the 9 lightning sword. Lei Niu's face darkened. Lu Ming's cultivation was clearly at the early stage of the 7th level spirit god realm. His cultivation was lower than Lei Niu's, but Lu Ming was able to fight him. He was a peerless genius, unrivaled among those of the same level. No one had ever been able to fight him with a cultivation base lower than his. Kill, kill. 9 different colors appeared on the lightning sword in his hand. 9 different types of lightning energy converged, and its power became even more terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming punched out continuously. On his fist, the shadow of a stone tablet was faintly discernible. The hell-suppressing heaven art clashed with the thunder battle sword, causing the world to shake. Chila. A bolt of lightning as thick as an arm was sent flying and landed on a mountain range in the distance. That mountain range was thousands of miles long. Under the power of the lightning, it exploded, turning into rubble and dust. Boom! A fist energy landed on the ground, creating an immeasurably deep hole in the ground. Blazing lava gushed out from the ground. The two of them exchanged more than 10 moves in a row, but it was hard to determine the victor. The Thunder Bull suddenly let out a loud roar. His body rapidly grew, and finally, he turned into a giant bull that was as big as a mountain. His entire body was covered with lightning. The Thunder Bull was a demonic beast, and this was his true form. Bang, bang. The giant Thunder Bull stepped on the void, and his 2 sharp horns were like heavenly blades. Whoosh, whoosh. The 2 sharp horns shone and slashed out 2 combat sabers condensed by thunder, slashing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw out 2 punches, and the 2 lightning blades were sent flying. However, his body trembled slightly and he took 2 steps back. The demonic beasts were stronger in their true form. 9 lightning sword, 10,000 sword kill. The Thunderbull shouted. The lightning energy on his body was even more shocking. Endless lightning spread out, and some were even thicker than a water tank. With the Thunderbull as the center, they shot out and danced in the sky. Lu Ming. Not far away, Xian Yanqing's demonic qi spread out, and he was resisting the force outside. He had a worried look on his face. Who is this person? He actually forced young Master Thunderbull to use his strongest combat strength. In the distance, there were 2 young men who were shocked to see this scene. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Endless lightning gathered on the Thunderbull's body, and it turned into 9 colored battle swords that slashed towards Lu Ming. This was the power of Intent Realm martial techniques. It could kill everything, and it was like a lightning tribulation that could destroy all life. At this moment, Lu Ming turned into 9 dragons, and 9 dragon claws stepped out continuously. The sky shook, and there was a dense explosion. The lightning swords exploded in the sky. Kill! The 9 dragons stepped forward, and they rushed towards the Thunderbull, clawing at him. Bang! The dragon claw landed on the Thunderbull's body, but it was blocked by layers of barriers. First was the lightning armor. The dragon claw pierced through the lightning armor and landed on the Thunderbull's body. It was like hitting a drum. With a bang, the dragon claw bounced off. At the same time, the Thunderbull's horns glowed, and a lightning bolt struck Lu Ming. However, it was blocked by Lu Ming's defenses. A dragon and a bull fought in the sky, and it was as if they had returned to prehistoric times. After more than 10 moves, it was difficult to determine the winner. Kid, let's fight again next time, the Thunderbull said. The more he fought, the more shocked he was. He felt that Lu Ming's strength was endless. Every time he was hit by Lu Ming's dragon claws, he would feel pain all over his body. He couldn't help but want to retreat. Want to leave? Did I allow you to leave? Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. Kid, although you're strong, I'm not weak either. You can't do anything to me. The Thunderbull snorted. Is that so? Lu Ming's indifferent voice sounded. In the next moment, a drop of blood appeared, and a layer of blood light appeared on the 9 dragons' bodies. The 3rd bloodline. As soon as the blood light appeared, the 9 dragons' strength suddenly skyrocketed. With a claw, they broke through the Thunderbull's defenses, leaving a deep claw mark on his body, and blood flowed out. The Thunderbull was furious. He didn't expect Lu Ming to be holding back. The thunderbolt roared and wanted to rush out. Bang! Every step of the 9 dragons' stomp could pierce through the sky. The lightning on the thunderbolt's body was scattered, leaving wounds on his body. Blood flowed out, and even his bones were exposed. The thunderbolt roared crazily. He felt a chill in his heart. Lu Ming was too strong and could threaten his life. He rushed out crazily. Kill! Lu Ming roared. 9 dragon claws grabbed one of the thunderbolt's front legs and tore it apart. With a tearing sound, one of the thunderbolt's front legs was torn off by Lu Ming. The thunderbolt wailed. Thunderbolt escape. He let out a long roar as strands of blood wrapped around his body. Afterward, the thunderbolt's body shrunk rapidly and turned into a bolt of lightning. With a flash, he rushed thousands of miles away and disappeared into the distance with another flash. So fast. Lu Ming frowned. It was too late to chase now. This thunderbolt's life-saving means were not bad. Young Master Thunderbolt lost. The remaining 2 screamed in horror and ran for their lives. But in a flash, Lu Ming appeared in front of them. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming slapped them twice. The 2 of them screamed miserably, vomiting blood and retreating. Shao Qing, I'll leave these 2 for you to kill. Lu Ming said. Spare me. Chapter 1241. After killing the 2, there were a total of 9 keys above Xian Yanqing's head, and a blood-red pillar of light shot into the sky. It complemented the blood-red pillar of light above Lu Ming's head. Little Qing, let's go and open that palace together. Lu Ming walked toward Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing nodded. The 2 of them walked side by side and flew towards the nearest palace. Not long after, a palace appeared in their field of vision. However, the blood-red pillars of light from the 2 of them were too eye-catching. Swoosh, swoosh. 7 or 8 young experts flew over from all directions. Their eyes were blazing with passion. Both of them have 9 keys each. Some people's eyes lit up. Get lost. Lu Ming directly punched the strongest person among them. A fist energy pierced through the sky and struck toward that person. The terrifying pressure made that person's soul leave his body. He tried his best to set up a defense, but in the end he was still hit by Lu Ming's punch and spat out a mouthful of blood. Hiss hiss hiss. The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard. Everyone recognized that person just now. He was a genius who had stepped onto the 36 Big Dipper Peak, and his cultivation was at the peak of the 7th level spirit god realm. He was actually hit by Lu Ming until he spat out a mouthful of blood, which made everyone terrified. A monster. Go go. The remaining people fled in all directions, wishing they could grow 2 more legs. Before long, not a single one of them was left. Lu Ming was too lazy to pay attention to them and came to the front of the palace with Xian Yanqing. There was also a stone tablet in front of the door of the palace. There were 9 keyholes on the stone tablet. Little Qing, you go first, Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded. With a thought, 9 blood-red keys flew into the keyholes and the door opened. Lu Ming, I'll go in and wait for you, Xian Yanqing said. I don't know if 2 people can enter in a row. You go in first. If I don't go in, it means that I went to another palace. You don't have to wait for me, Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and stepped through the door. After Xian Yanqing stepped through the door closed automatically. I wonder if it's still useful. Lu Ming's mind moved, and the 9 keys flew towards the 9 keyholes. Unfortunately, the 9 keys stayed outside, unable to enter. As expected, it's useless. Only one person can enter a palace at a time. Lu Ming shook his head and walked away. Not long after, Lu Ming found another palace. There was obviously no one in this palace. Lu Ming opened the door of the palace with 9 keys and stepped in. The scene in the hall was almost the same as the last time he saw it. There were also a few shelves. On the shelves, there were balls of light. Under the balls of light, there were different symbols. Lu Ming sized them up carefully, pondering how he should make his choice. He had the Thunder God strike for the time being. If he chose another one, he wouldn't have time to cultivate it. The Thunder God strike was enough for Lu Ming to comprehend. If he could cultivate the Thunder God strike to the highest level, its power would be shocking. It would be enough for the time being. Learning another one wouldn't be of much use. Lu Ming pondered for a while and decided to choose a pill. If it could be placed together with a concept martial skill, it wouldn't be bad. However, the symbols of the pills looked similar. He couldn't tell what pill it was, so he could only choose randomly. Lu Ming grabbed at a ball of light. The ball of light shattered and a jade bottle appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Domain condensing pill. There was a label on the jade bottle with 3 words written on it. It's actually a domain condensing pill? Lu Ming's eyes lit up with a blazing light. His heart couldn't help but beat faster. He had heard of the domain condensing pill before. However, it didn't exist in the divine wilderness continent. It was only a legend. If a spiritual god at the great perfection stage wanted to advance, he would have to transform his concept into a domain. However, this step was undoubtedly extremely difficult, shockingly difficult. If he could condense a domain, he would be considered a prime. However, if a spiritual god at the great perfection stage took the domain condensing pill, it would greatly increase the chances of condensing a domain. It would even make it easier to condense a complete domain. This was a priceless treasure. Its value was immeasurable. The Heavenly God sect was indeed a major force in the Yuan. They could even casually take out the domain condensing pill as a reward. Or perhaps, a peerless divine pill like the domain condensing pill was just ordinary in the eyes of the Heavenly God sect. However, this was definitely a peerless divine pill for Lu Ming. If Lu Ming's cultivation reached the great perfection stage, this domain condensing pill could help Lu Ming reach the prime stage quickly. Lu Ming carefully put it away. Then, he tried the other balls of light. As expected, none of them could be opened. Let's go take a look at Shao Qing. Lu Ming didn't stop. He went out of the hall and arrived at the hall that Xian Yanqing had entered. However, the door of Xian Yanqing's hall was tightly shut. Xian Yanqing didn't come out. Lu Ming stopped at a nearby mountain peak and let Dandan keep watch outside. Lu Ming entered the mountain river diagram and sat under the tree of enlightenment to comprehend the Thunder God strike. In this small world, the massacre continued. One by one, the top geniuses of their respective continents were killed here and would forever stay in this land. Some of the weaker ones didn't dare to show their faces at all. They looked for a safe place to hide. As for the strong ones, they hunted everywhere. It was a scene of blood and slaughter. In a valley, Long Chen transformed into the primordial dragonesque elephant and roared at the sky. He took a step forward and killed 2 7th-level spirit god experts. Now, Long Chen's cultivation had also reached the 7th level of the spirit god realm. His combat strength was even more terrifying. Then, Long Chen gathered the 9 keys and stepped into a hall. On a large river, Ice Dragon waved his hand and sealed several young experts in ice. He also gathered the 9 keys and entered a hall. In a land full of holes, Xian Yanjuan's body was pure and holy. Milky white light suffused the air. 9 keys floated above her head. Not far from her was the 3 strongest geniuses of the Southern God Palace, Wangjin. Miss Nianjuan, you enter the hall first. I'll go to the other halls. Wangjin said. Thank you, young Master Wang. Xian Yanjuan nodded and stepped into a hall. A blazing light flashed in Wangjin's eyes, and then he walked towards the other halls. Scenes like this were happening all over this small world. Top geniuses like Ji Hongchen had gathered the 9 keys and entered the halls to obtain fortuitous opportunities. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. Half a month's time was almost up. After 7 days of comprehension, he had made great progress in the Thunder God strike. However, he still needed some time to cultivate it to the 2nd level. At this time, Dandan sent news that Xian Yanqing had come out. Lu Ming came out of the mountain and river diagram. As expected, he saw Xian Yanqing standing in front of the hall and looking around. Xian Yanqing smiled when she saw Lu Ming flying over. Little Qing, what did you get? Lu Ming asked. It's a pill. Xian Yanqing explained. She had obtained the inheritance of a supreme expert in the divine ruins. Within it, There were several martial skills related to the concept of the Devil Dao. Chapter 1242. I chose the Demon Essence Pill, but I didn't expect that as soon as I got it, my bloodline would directly appear and take the initiative to swallow the Demon Essence Pill, so I could only start to refine it. I didn't expect that this cultivation would take 7 days. Xian Yanqing explained. Lu Ming nodded. No wonder Xian Yanqing stayed in the palace for 7 days. Little Qing, your cultivation. Lu Ming carefully looked at Xian Yanqing and felt that Xian Yanqing's true essence fluctuation was incomparably powerful. After I refined the Demon Essence Pill, my cultivation broke through from the peak of the 6th level of the Spirit God Realm to the 7th level of the Spirit God Realm in one go. Xian Yanqing said. 7th level of the Spirit God Realm. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The 7th level of the Spirit God Realm was a peak existence among all the geniuses this time. Xian Yanqing could break through to the 7th level of the Spirit God Realm, and coupled with Xian Yanqing's own combat strength, there was no need to worry about protecting himself. Lu Ming was naturally overjoyed. There was less than a day before half a month. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing wandered around. If they encountered others, Lu Ming didn't mind killing them and seizing the key. However, after flying for a while, they didn't encounter anyone. Many people with lower cultivation had hidden during this period of time, and it was difficult to find them. Time flew by quickly. Buzz. Suddenly the space trembled. Lu Ming felt the space around him tighten, and he disappeared from this place. In the next moment, he appeared on the 36 Big Dipper peaks in the ancient city of gods. Xian Yanqing also appeared beside him. Countless people were watching in the surroundings. They're out. The first round is over. Someone exclaimed softly. In the air above the 36 Big Dipper peaks, people constantly flashed out. Soon, more than 500 people appeared in the air. But after that, no one else appeared. Only 500 people were left. Many people's hearts trembled. Needless to say, the remaining people would definitely stay inside forever. Nearly 1,000 people, but only 500 people came out. The death rate was nearly half. Such a death rate was too high. It was truly frightening. Lei Niu, you actually lost an arm? Who has the strength to do so? A voice sounded. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the voice and saw a young man with a nostril hoop. One of his arms was missing, and his face was extremely gloomy. Many geniuses, including some rulers, also looked at the Thunder Bull. Lei Niu is one of the 3 strongest cultivators of the West God Palace. Who could have cut off one of his arms? He has such strength? Could it be the strongest experts of the other 3 divine palaces? Or are they the second strongest in the continent? How formidable! Thunderbull's combat strength is already terrifying and shocking. I once saw him easily kill 3 perfection stage domain enlightened spirit gods, and he was even capable of going against an exalt, yet he actually lost an arm. Sounds of discussion could be heard all around. They were incomparably shocked. This made Lei Niu's face even gloomier. He looked around and finally fixed his eyes on Lu Ming. Cold, murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He then snorted coldly and walked toward the West Divine Palace. The others looked at each other and flew in 4 different directions. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing arrived at the South God Palace. The middle-aged man in black swept his gaze across them, and his face was a little gloomy. More than half of the geniuses of the South God Palace had come here. The loss was too great. One had to know that as long as these geniuses did not die, they would definitely become rulers in the future, and not just any ordinary rulers. So many people have died. Lu Ming was also secretly observing. Almost every continent had people who died in battle. On the Divine Wilderness continent, Lu Ming saw Long Chen, Xian Yanjuan Yang Patin, Monk Wuliang, Moonless Bodhisattva, and Underworld Child. For example, the Cerberus and Kong Lin were no longer there. Obviously, they had died in battle. Including Lion Capital, the Divine Wilderness continent had lost 3 geniuses. Such a loss was considered small. Some continents were almost completely wiped out. For example, The 8th-ranked Zhanping continent had lost 70% to 80% of its geniuses. Even the 2nd-ranked genius had died. The divine crocodile continent was even more miserable. Only 2 or 3 geniuses were left, looking at each other. The Bayou continent had also suffered heavy losses. Suddenly, 2 figures flashed, and 2 figures in feathered robes appeared on both sides of Lu Ming. Cold, murderous intent covered Lu Ming. "My hair, what's going on?" Monk Wuliang chanted the name of Buddha. The others on the South God Palace side also looked at the 2 youths in feathered robes. Of the 2 youths in feathered robes, one was wearing a golden feather robe, and the other was wearing black wings. "Golden Wing, Shini, what are you 2 doing?" Ji Hongchen frowned slightly and said, "He killed Silver Wing, and Silver Wing left a special aura on his body. Only the Winged clan can sense it." The youth in the golden feather robe said coldly, "What? He killed Silver Wing? He can kill Silver Wing?" Many geniuses on the South God Palace side were puzzled. Silver Wing was one of the 3 great geniuses of the Bayou continent. He had stepped onto the 36th heaven astral peak, and his cultivation was profound. His battle strength was strong. How could someone from the divine wilderness continent kill Silver Wing? Ji Hongchen frowned and did not continue speaking. On the other hand, Wang Zhen and Xian Yinjuan were gloating. "That's right, I killed Silver Wing." At this moment, Lu Ming said. Since he had been discovered, there was nothing to hide. "How dare you kill a genius of the Bayou continent? Speak, what despicable method did you use to sneak attack? I don't believe that a trash from the divine wilderness continent like you can kill Silver Wing." Golden Wing scolded coldly. "We are all from the South God Palace, but you have an internal conflict. You killed a genius of the Bayou continent and weakened the strength of the South God Palace. Speak, what are your intentions? Also, who is your helper? Is it someone else from the divine wilderness continent?" The black-feathered Shini said as his cold gaze swept across the other people from the divine wilderness continent. Xian Yinjuan, underworld child, and Yang Potion's faces turned ugly. "I have nothing to do with him. I have always been with young Master Wang Zhen." Xian Yinjuan explained. "That's right, I can testify that Miss Nianqing has nothing to do with this matter." Wang Zhen opened his mouth and explained. "I also have nothing to do with him. I have a grudge with him." Yang Patian and Underworld Child spoke one after another, wanting to distance themselves from Lu Ming. Heartless Monk and Moonless Bodhisattva did not speak. Xian Yanqing stood closely beside Lu Ming. Bang! At this moment, Long Chen stepped forward and stood beside Lu Ming. This made Xian Yinjuan, Yang Patian, and the others' expressions change. Long Chen was actually standing beside Lu Ming. "Why would I need others to kill Silver Wing? I can kill him with a flip of my hand," Lu Ming said with a calm expression. "Also, you have to understand one thing. It was Silver Wing who wanted to kill me first, so I killed him. You don't have to slander me for no reason. It's useless." "Nonsense, don't try to quibble. Since you have admitted that you killed Silver Wing, you have to pay with your life. Now kneel down and admit your crimes. Also, these accomplices are all guilty. Kneel down and cripple your own cultivation. When the Celestial Divine Sect's disciple selection is over, I will bring you back to the Bayou continent and pronounce your crimes." Chapter 1243. The commotion here naturally attracted the attention of the other parties. The geniuses of the other 3 divine palaces all looked over as if they were watching a show. Beasts are beasts. Their brains don't work well. Lu Ming curled his lips. "You are courting death." Jin Yi shouted. Shen Yi's eyes were cold. The other geniuses of the Bayou continent were all filled with murderous intent and shrouded Lu Ming. Jin Yi's body burst out with golden light. He formed a claw with his fingers and clawed at Lu Ming, making a sharp piercing sound. Boom! Boom! Xian Yanqing and Long Chen's aura burst out. "You don't have to do anything. It's just a few beasts," Lu Ming said and punched out. Bang! Crack! Lu Ming's punch landed on the golden wing's claw, causing the sound of bones breaking to be heard. The golden wings screamed and retreated continuously. Many people couldn't help but widen their eyes and look at the scene in disbelief. Jin Yi was also an expert who had stepped onto the 36 Tianggang peak. Now, Lu Ming's punch had broken his finger bone. It was unbelievable. The black-robed middle-aged man from the Southern Divine Palace had been standing quietly in the void, watching indifferently without saying a word. Kill! Jin Yi's finger bone was broken by Lu Ming's punch. He was angry and turned into his original form, a golden eagle. He flapped his wings and attacked Lu Ming. At the same time, Xin Yi's eyes were cold. He also turned into his original form and attacked Lu Ming. The two geniuses who had stepped onto the Tianggang peak actually joined forces to attack Lu Ming. It was despicable. Well, the bird meat contains the bloodline of a divine beast. It's just right for me to have a good meal. Lu Ming said coldly. The dragon power in his body burst out and he punched out twice. Wherever the fist passed, the space was squeezed into a ball and blasted toward Jin Yi and Xin. Two wails sounded, and the sky was filled with golden and black feathers. Jin Yi and Xin Yi were seriously injured in one move. Kill! Lu Ming consecutively sent out two palms. His palms were like heavenly blades, slashing at the necks of the golden wings and divine wings. A terrifying power erupted, blasting the two bird heads into pieces. Jin Yi and Xin Yi were instantly killed. Hiss! Many people gasped and looked at Lu Ming in shock. Those were two geniuses who could step onto Tianggang Peak, but they were killed by Lu Ming so easily. The black-clothed middle-aged man's eyes lit up with surprise. He had some impression of Lu Ming. Back in the divine desolate continent, Lu Ming had only possessed a rank 8 divine realm bloodline, but he had easily defeated Mu Feng, which had attracted his attention. Therefore, he had made an exception and allowed Lu Ming to come to the Divine Ruins continent with him. Now, the abilities that Lu Ming displayed were even more shocking. Even he was taken aback. As for Wang Zhen, Ji Hongchen, and the purple-haired youth, their eyes were filled with shock, astonishment, and seriousness. Lu Ming's strength had attracted their attention. Many people from the other 3 divine palaces were also shocked. Who is this person? His combat strength is not bad. I didn't expect Southern Divine Palace to have such a hidden character other than those 3 guys. Someone spoke, obviously treating Lu Ming as an opponent. Among them, Lei Niu and Bing Long snorted coldly, their faces ugly. You killed Jin Yi and Xin Yi? A genius from the Baiyu continent asked in a trembling voice, extremely shocked. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the corpses of Xin Yi and Jin. He said, "What? You want to fight too?" The youth from the Baiyu continent was horrified. Lu Ming. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. Wang Zhen stepped out and his gaze fell on Lu Ming. He said, "Lu Ming, your methods are too vicious. Jin Yi and Xin Yi only said a few words to you and you killed them. Moreover, Jin Yi and Xin Yi are 2 generals of my Southern Divine Palace. You killed them so ruthlessly to weaken my Southern Divine Palace's strength. With your temperament, you are not qualified to participate in the Divine Sky Sex selection." Wang Zhen's eyes flickered with a ruthless light. Xian Yanjuan had told him about her conflict with Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. At this time, he wanted to seize the opportunity to perform in front of Xian Yanjuan and gain Xian Yanjuan's favor. Lu Ming looked at Wang Zhen and sneered, "Are you blind? They wanted to kill me just now. Can I fight back and kill them? How about this? If I want to kill you, you can stand still and let me kill you." "You're just quibbling," Wang Zhen said. "Who do you think you are? I don't need to quibble with you. Get lost." Lu Ming was too lazy to talk nonsense with him and directly scolded him. This made Wang Zhen's face extremely gloomy. Who was he? The 3 strongest geniuses of Southern Divine Palace, and the Wang family's influence in the Southern Divine Palace was even stronger than the Mu family. Lu Ming dared to talk to him like this? "Kid, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you killed Golden Wings and Xin Yi. I'll let you know that there's always someone better than you," Wang Zhen said coldly as a cold, murderous intent rose from his body. "Enough." At this time, the voice of the middle-aged man in black came out and made Wang Zhen stop. Golden Wings and Xin Yi were at fault in this matter. They wanted to kill others, but they didn't have the ability and were killed instead. They can't blame anyone else. The middle-aged man in black said. But Wang Zhen wanted to say more. The middle-aged man in black reached out his hand and Wang Zhen could only swallow his words. Kid, you're lucky today. Wang Zhen stared coldly at Lu Ming and turned to leave. He walked to Xian Yanjuan's side and said, Don't worry, I'll find a chance to kill that kid. Xian Yanjuan nodded casually. At this time, there was a powerful fluctuation in the sky and a few figures appeared in the air. It was the silver-haired elder and two middle-aged men from the celestial sect. As for the three young men, there was no trace of them. Okay, the first round is over. Next, we'll set up the venue for the second round. It will take half a month. Those who survived the first round will gather here in half a month. After the silver-haired elder finished his announcement, he turned and left. Half a month later, the second round of the competition would begin. Many people's eyes were filled with anticipation. After half a month, they might be able to join the celestial sect. Then, the crowd dispersed and flew in different directions. Let's go and barbecue. Lu Ming laughed. The sky prides of the Bayou continent trembled and their faces turned ugly. Soon, the crowd returned to their residence. Half an hour later, in Lu Ming's courtyard, there was a rich aroma of meat that spread throughout the entire Southern Divine Palace residence. The Lu Ming really barbecued golden wings and Xin. Some young men from other continents were dumbfounded. Brother Long, come and eat together. Lu Ming called out to Long Chen's room. The door opened and Long Chen strode in. I have rice hair. Almsgiver Lu, I wonder if I have the fortune to eat a piece? Unscrupulous monk appeared and looked at the two golden roasted birds. His eyes lit up and his saliva almost flowed out. Of course. Chapter 1244. Haha, this little monk can't eat Benefactor Lu's food for free. This little monk has some top-grade wine that matches this barbecue. Monk Wuliang stepped forward and waved his hand. 7 or 8 jars of wine appeared on the ground. This, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Long Chen were all stunned. How could there be such a monk in the Buddhist sect? Amitba. Ha, then this little monk won't stand on ceremony. Monk Wuliang laughed, his eyes shining. He rolled up his sleeves, tore off a bird's wing, and began to chew on it. Lu Ming smiled and picked up a jar of wine. He opened it and took a big gulp. It was mellow and sweet in his mouth. It was warm and comfortable in his stomach. Even his true essence was flowing smoothly. This was truly a top-grade wine. This monk Wuliang really knew how to enjoy himself. Next, he seemed to be gulping down wine and eating meat. In 2 hours, 7 or 8 jars of wine had been finished. The 2 large birds with 9th-level divine beast bloodline had been gnawed until only bones were left. What was even more shocking was that Monk Wuliang didn't even let go of the bones and began to chew on them. This is good stuff. It would be a pity to miss it. Don't stand on ceremony. Monk Wuliang muttered as he stuffed it into his mouth. Lu Ming and the other 2 looked at each other. After another half an hour, Monk Wuliang reluctantly left. Shaoqing, there is a thunder region 1,000,000 miles away from the ancient city of God. I plan to take advantage of this half a month to go to the Thunder region to cultivate the concept martial arts. Lu Ming told Xian Yanqing his plan. I want to choose a concept martial art to cultivate. During this time, I will cultivate in the mountain and river diagram. Xian Yanqing nodded. Then, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing entered the mountain and river diagram. Xian Yanqing sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree. Chirp chirp. A meatball flew over and rushed into Lu Ming's arms, rubbing against him with all its might. It was Bubbles. During this period of time, Lu Ming had placed the bubbles in the mountain-river diagram. Now that they saw Lu Ming, they were very sticky. Little guy, let me carry you. Lu Ming rubbed the bubbles, then exited the mountain and river diagram. He left the Southern God Palace's mansion and headed west of the ancient city of gods. The lightning region was to the west of the ancient city of gods. In a room in the Western Divine Palace, Lei Nyo's face was extremely gloomy. Looking at his empty arm, he was even more furious and filled with killing intent. The domain enlightened spirit god realm was still incapable of regrowing severed limbs, and only by breaking through to the martial monarch realm would one be able to regrow an arm. This wasn't a big deal. Lei Nyo was worried that the Sky God Sect's selection this time would affect the Sky God Sect's perception of him. At this moment, a black shadow flashed and a skinny black-clothed old man appeared in the room. "Young Master Nyo, what instructions do you have for me?" The black-clothed old man bowed and asked. "Send a message back and ask my master to send some experts over. I want to find a chance to kill that brat." Lei Nyo said with killing intent. "Yes." The black-clothed old man bowed and accepted the order, and then his figure flashed and left. "I've lost a lot of my origin energy this time, so I need to find a place to recover. The lightning region to the west of the ancient city of gods is a place where lightning gathers. It just happens to be suitable for me." Lei Nyo muttered to himself. A distance of 1,000,000 miles was covered in an instant for Lu Ming. Black clouds covered the area in front of him, and endless black clouds were rolling. Terrifying bolts of lightning descended from the clouds and covered the entire sky like silver snakes. Rumble. Thunder rumbled and everything fell into a dormant state. This was a vast and boundless lightning region. This was the lightning region, and it was called the boundless lightning region because it was extremely vast. Swoosh. Lu Ming paused for a moment before he stepped out and entered the lightning region. As soon as Lu Ming stepped into the lightning region, 9 bolts of lightning as thick as an arm struck towards Lu Ming. Thunder God Strike. Lu Ming grasped the void and condensed bolts of lightning out of thin air, canceling out the bolts of lightning that struck towards him. What a strong power of lightning, what a strong lightning concept. Lu Ming extended his spiritual consciousness and felt the space around him. It was filled with extremely rich power of lightning. This place is still too weak. Let's go deeper. Lu Ming continued to step into the depths of the lightning region. Along the way, lightning constantly struck Lu Ming, but they were all easily blocked by Lu Ming's Thunder God Strike. At the same time, Lu Ming also used the power of lightning here to comprehend the Thunder God Strike. Buzz. At this moment, Lu Ming's body trembled slightly. He felt the lightning cauldron in his sea of consciousness vibrate slightly. Then, his glabella lit up and the lightning cauldron appeared on its own. The lightning cauldron vibrated slightly and produced a strong suction force. Bolts of lightning were attracted to the lightning cauldron and flew towards it, disappearing into it. This works too. Lu Ming was stunned for a moment and then revealed a look of joy. Swoosh. Lu Ming used his movement technique and ran towards the depths of the lightning region at an extremely fast speed. The deeper he went into the lightning region, the stronger the power of lightning. The lightning concept would also be stronger and easier to comprehend. On the way, Lu Ming also noticed a few auras. Obviously, there were other people cultivating here. Not long after, Lu Ming came to a valley. The power of lightning here was incomparably strong. Endless lightning bolts constantly fell down with an astonishing aura. This is it. Lu Ming walked into the valley and sat down cross-legged. He quietly comprehended the power of lightning between heaven and earth and cultivated the Thunder God Strike. The lightning cauldron floated above his head, absorbing a few huge bolts of lightning from time to time. There were traces of lightning swimming around the cauldron, shining brightly. Chirp chirp, bubbles lazily laid on Lu Ming's body and squinted its eyes to look around. Lightning is destruction, a punishment from the heavens. Lu Ming carefully comprehended and muttered. He was comprehending the essence of the power of lightning. The power of lightning was a punishment from the heavens. Everything was afraid of it and its power was extremely terrifying. However, it was extremely difficult to comprehend its essence. In the past, Lu Ming only used it casually and did not dig deeper. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had been cultivating in the valley for 3 days. In these 3 days, he had benefited a lot. He was very close to the second level of the Thunder God Strike and could break through at any time. However, at this time, Lu Ming felt that the power of the lightning in the valley was not enough. He needed a stronger power of lightning to cultivate. Lu Ming got up and walked out of the valley, continuing to go deeper. 2 hours later, Lu Ming came to a majestic mountain. In the sky above the mountain, endless lightning scattered, and the power of lightning was incomparably dense. However, Lu Ming sensed that there were many caves in the mountain. There were auras entrenched in them. Obviously, there were experts cultivating here. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and turned to leave. He did not want to stay here any longer. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning shot out from the mountain. A green-robed old man appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his path. Chapter 1245. What a miraculous lightning treasure. Kid, give this lightning cauldron to me and you can fuck off. The green-clothed old man spoke indifferently. His body emitted a powerful aura, the aura of a perfected spirit god. Lu Ming thought in his heart. It turned out that the old man was eyeing his lightning cauldron. A trace of a cold smile appeared on the corners of Lu Ming's mouth. A mere perfected spirit god. Presently, Lu Ming didn't take the old man seriously at all. If the old man wanted to court death, then he didn't mind sending him on his way. Kid, I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me? Hand over the lightning cauldron and fuck off. Otherwise, you can forget about leaving once I make a move. The green-clothed old man berated. You can give it a try. Lu Ming replied indifferently. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Could it be that a mere 7th-level spirit god can go against me? Since you're so stubborn, then I'll send you on your way. The green-clothed old man's expression turned cold, and his body emitted icy cold killing intent. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Right at this moment, a few more powerful auras rose up from the mountain. A total of 3 people flew out from the mountain and appeared around Lu Ming, and they surrounded Lu Ming tightly. All of them were at the perfected spirit god realm. Old freak Qing, how can such a treasure be taken by you alone? A one-eyed man spoke loudly. Gentlemen, I was the one who discovered it first. The green-clothed old man's expression became even more gloomy when he saw the 3 of them appear. You noticed it first? How laughable! I was just cultivating just now, but my spirit sense noticed it long ago. The one-eyed man mocked. The other 2 spoke as well and said that they'd noticed it long ago. The 4 of them completely ignored Lu Ming and actually started fighting for it. In their eyes, Lu Ming was only a lamb waiting to be slaughtered and wasn't a threat at all. Are all of you done talking nonsense? Right when the 4 of them were fighting and confronting each other, Lu Ming's voice sounded out. The 4 of them instantly fell silent and looked at Lu Ming in a daze. If you're done talking nonsense, then I'll send you on your way. Traces of killing intent bloomed on Lu Ming's body. What did this kid say? Ha! The one-eyed man burst into laughter. Under such circumstances and under the encirclement of 4 perfection stage spiritual gods, Lu Ming actually said that he would send them on their way. Could it be that this kid has gone mad? Brat, I'll send you on your way first. The one-eyed man's only eye was filled with killing intent. At the same time, a battle axe appeared in his hand. His entire body was covered with the power of lightning. He swung the battle axe at Lu Ming's throat. With a thought from Lu Ming, the lightning cauldron above his head shook. Then, a thick lightning bolt shot out towards the one-eyed man. With a crackling sound, the one-eyed large fellow was submerged in thunder and lightning. The power of thunder and lightning emitted from his body was like a mouse meeting a cat, instantly disappearing into nothingness. The one-eyed man howled in grief. His protective Jinyuan was also shattered by the lightning. His entire body was split open, and smoke rose from his body. It was a horrible sight to behold. What power! What a powerful treasure! The azure-clothed old man exclaimed. At the same time, the burning glow in his eyes grew even more dazzling. This treasure is extremely powerful. Why don't we join forces and seize it first, and then we'll discuss how to split it? Said the azure-clothed old man. All right. The other 2 didn't hesitate in the slightest before agreeing. The lightning cauldron had instantly split open the one-eyed large fellow's flesh, and its might caused them to be shocked. At the same time, their hearts burned even more fervently. In an instant, the three of them attacked. 3 terrifying attacks descended towards Lu Ming. When the three of them joined forces, not to mention a 7th-level spiritual god, even a perfection stage spiritual god would be heavily injured or even killed. Meanwhile, waves of dragon roars resounded from within Lu Ming's body as 9 strands of dragon energy instantly erupted. Bang! Lu Ming slapped out with his palm and dispersed the attack of a gray-robed old man, and then his palm didn't stop and slashed onto the gray-robed old man's body. The gray-robed old man let out a shrill cry as his body sunk in, and then he was blasted flying like a cannonball while spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. A perfection stage spiritual god was heavily injured with a single move. A huge bolt of lightning flew out from the lightning cauldron and drowned the gray-robed old man, causing him to let out a wail. When the lightning disappeared, the gray-robed old man's body was already charred black and without a trace of vitality. A perfection stage spiritual god had been killed by Lu Ming in 2 moves. At the same time, the azure-clothed old man and his companions' attacks landed on Lu Ming's body, but Lu Ming's muscles flexed as he used the health-suppressing heaven skill and easily neutralized their attacks. How could this be? Their eyes widened to the size of copper bells, and they were filled with disbelief, followed by shock and horror. A perfection stage spiritual god had been killed by Lu Ming in 2 or 3 moves. This was too terrifying. Lu Ming didn't stop at all. After killing the gray-robed old man, he attacked the other person. That person frantically resisted, but everything seemed so fragile under Lu Ming's attacks. His heart was pierced through by Lu Ming's palm, and his spiritual god didn't manage to escape either, and was smashed into nothingness. Ah, what a monster! The azure-clothed old man screamed in fear and fled frantically. Kill! Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and appeared above the azure-clothed old man's head. Under the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, the azure-clothed old man's body exploded. 3 perfection stage spiritual gods had been killed by Lu Ming in a few breaths. There were still a few people in that mountain, but their cultivation hadn't reached the perfection stage spiritual god realm. When they saw the 4 perfection stage spiritual gods attacking earlier, they knew that they had no fate with the treasure, so they didn't attack and sighed inwardly. At this time, their faces were pale with fear, and their hearts were cold. They tried their best to restrain their aura and hide in the mountain. Now, they were glad that they didn't go out, or they would be the ones to die. He's a monster, a god of death. They thought in fear. The 9 dragons' bloodline appeared, opened its mouth, and swallowed all of their blood essence. Then, it took a step and chased after one of them. That person was the one-eyed burly man. Initially, he had been struck by the thunder cauldron, but he was only severely injured and did not die. Previously, when he saw Lu Ming unleashing his invincible prowess and killing a perfected spirit god powerhouse as if he was chopping melons and vegetables, he was already scared out of his wits and was trying his best to escape. At this moment, when he saw Lu Ming, he was so scared that he screamed, "Spare me, young hero." A peerless treasure? Lights and shadows flashed and Lu Ming appeared in front of the one-eyed burly man, deep in thought. Seeing that Lu Ming did not kill him and seemed to be tempted, the one-eyed burly man was overjoyed. He shouted, "There is a treasure nurtured by the power of thunder and lightning. It is very useful for cultivation techniques that cultivate the power of thunder and lightning or martial techniques that use the power of thunder and lightning. As long as you promise not to kill me, I will bring you there." The one-eyed man looked at Lu Ming with hope, but his heart was uneasy. He was afraid that Lu Ming would kill him. "If I'm satisfied with that treasure, I won't kill you." Lu Ming said, "Okay, I'll take you there. You'll be satisfied." Chapter 1246. Lead the way. Lu Ming said. The one-eyed burly man nodded and led the way. Lu Ming followed the one-eyed burly man into the depths of the lightning field. Along the way, they crossed many towering mountains and came to a small hill. Sizzle. The area within 100 miles of the small hill was filled with boundless lightning. What a terrifying power of thunder and lightning! Lu Ming's eyes widened and he was a little shocked. The power of thunder and lightning around this small hill was at least 10 times or even 100 times stronger than other places. It was too shocking that a small hill had such an amazing power of thunder and lightning. Lu Ming looked carefully and finally found the reason. On the small hill, there was a small tree about half a meter tall. It only had 3 leaves, but the 3 leaves were exactly the same as the legendary phoenix. They were like 3 small phoenixes hanging on the branches, vivid and lifelike. Above the small tree, a phoenix condensed from lightning was dancing gracefully. It flew around the small tree continuously and let out a crisp chirp. The incomparably rich power of thunder and lightning was all because of this small tree. What a wonderful spiritual tree! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. If he could use this small tree to cultivate, the cultivation speed of the Thunder God's strike would definitely skyrocket. It was indeed a supreme treasure. Buzz, buzz. Above Lu Ming's head, the lightning cauldron kept vibrating, as if it was very excited. This is the spiritual tree. Can I go now? The one-eyed burly man looked at Lu Ming carefully. Go! Lu Ming waved his hand casually. Whether he killed the one-eyed burly man or not, it didn't matter. The one-eyed burly man was overjoyed and quickly retreated. At the same time, his eyes looked around, as if he was waiting for something. Boom! Suddenly, not far from the small hill, a terrifying aura erupted. A figure rushed up and came to Lu Ming's side in an instant. A supreme! Lu Ming's face changed slightly. There was actually a supreme hiding near this small hill. It's the Dark Lightning Sovereign. Ha! This brat is dead for sure, daring to injure me. The one-eyed man's eyes lit up and he laughed in his heart. A ferocious look flashed in his eyes. He had long known that there was a supreme being here, so he deliberately brought Lu Ming here. He was sure that if that supreme being saw Lu Ming's lightning cauldron, he would definitely make a move. As expected, a supreme martial artist appeared. This was a black-robed old man with a terrifying aura. His eyes were burning as he stared at the lightning cauldron above Lu Ming's head. Haha, with this lightning cauldron, I will definitely be able to enter and obtain the Thunder Phoenix tree. The black-robed old man laughed and said, Kid, this seat is Dark Lightning Sovereign. Hand over your lightning cauldron. He wants the lightning cauldron again. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. However, this was the world of martial arts, where the strong were respected. When adventuring outside, it was normal for the strong to snatch the treasures of the weak. Lu Ming wasn't too surprised. However, did the other party really think that he was stronger than him? Previously, that person and a few others said the same thing to you, but now, they are all dead. Lu Ming pointed at the one-eyed man in the distance. Oh, how many perfected stage spirit gods can you kill? Looks like you are a genius. However, do you think a perfected stage spirit god can compare to a supreme martial artist? Dark Lightning Sovereign's eyes only moved slightly before he sneered again. So what if Lu Ming could kill a few perfected stage spirit gods? How could a perfected stage spirit god compare to a supreme martial artist? Is that so? Lu Ming licked his lips, his eyes revealing fighting spirit. So what if he was a supreme martial artist? Lu Ming wanted to test his strength and see if he could fight a supreme martial artist. Kid, if you want to fight with me, then I will fulfill your wish. Sensing Lu Ming's fighting spirit, Dark Lightning Sovereign's face sank, and the aura on his body became even more terrifying. Boom! A terrifying force suddenly pressed down on Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming's body to tremble slightly. Erupt! Lu Ming roared, and all 9 dragon forces erupted. At the same time, his true yuan circulated crazily, and the 5 intents of heaven and earth completely erupted, forming a battle armor that covered his entire body. Dark Lightning Hand. Dark Lightning Sovereign's body was filled with endless black lightning. He stretched out his hand, forming a huge black lightning palm that grabbed at Lu Ming. Sizzle, black lightning flashed, full of destructive power, and in the destructive power, there was a corrosive intent. This kind of black lightning was very terrifying. Above Lu Ming's head, the third bloodline appeared, and a force poured into Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming's hair to turn blood red. Kill! An extremely powerful killing intent rushed out, and Lu Ming stepped out, circulating the health-suppressing heaven skill, and punched out, bombarding the black lightning palm. Boom! There was a shocking explosion, and a black hole appeared at the place where the fist and the black palm collided. Then, it suddenly exploded, and terrifying energy scattered in all directions. Bang! 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 Lu Ming's body trembled, and he took 3 steps back. However, the black lightning palm also collapsed under Lu Ming's punch. The strength of a sovereign is really shocking. Lu Ming felt his fist go slightly numb, and there were even thin black lightning flickering, desperately trying to drill into Lu Ming's fist. However, they were blocked by Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shocked, but he didn't know that Dark Lightning Sovereign was even more shocked. He actually blocked it. Dark Lightning Sovereign's heart also jumped, and he found it unbelievable. He had never heard of a mere 7th-level spirit god being able to block his attack. Let's see how many moves you can take from this old man. Dark Lightning Sovereign's killing intent bloomed, and he blasted out another palm. This palm strike was even more powerful than the previous one, and it was even more shocking. Roar! With a dragon roar, the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared, and Lu Ming transformed into 9 dragons. Dragon claws stepped out, and the black palm was destroyed. Damn it, kill! Dark Lightning Domain. Dark Lightning Sovereign's killing intent became even stronger. He turned his palm into a fist and punched out. In this punch, another black domain bloomed, and it blasted towards Lu Ming. This is the embryonic form of a domain. Lu Ming's heart jumped, and he felt the aura of danger. Boom! 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 Lu Ming circulated the health-suppressing heaven skill to the extreme, and at the same time, the devouring power erupted, and the 5-color concept circulated, erupting with the strongest power. Boom! The two collided again. The 9 dragons' bodies shook violently, and their dragon claws stepped on the air, and they retreated. However, Dark Lightning Sovereign also retreated, and the distance he retreated was not shorter than Lu Ming. How is this possible? In the distance, the one-eyed burly man was still watching the battle. At this time, his only eye was almost popping out. His mouth was wide open, and his face was dumbfounded. Lu Ming, such a young man who was not even 30 years old, with the cultivation of a 7th-level spirit god, could actually fight a sovereign and even defeat him. This was simply unbelievable. How could there be such a powerful young genius in the world? Could it be the strongest genius of the 4 great divine palaces? Again! Dark Lightning Sovereign roared, and he was really angry. He had been famous for thousands of years, and he was actually defeated by a little fellow at the 7th-level spirit god. If this spread out, he wouldn't be able to survive. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.